Night Owls.
Turn on Night Owls.
Spieth and claim his second major. He says he enjoyed lifting the claret jug in front of thousands of spectators.
This is by far one of the best moments of my life. To see everyone out here, look at all these fans. Let's hear it for you guys. You guys have been amazing.
And England have levelled their T20 cricket series with Pakistan after a 45-run victory at Headingley. Pakistan couldn't get near a target of 201. From Sky News, I'm Andy Hayes.
Greatest Hits Radio.
And now, the forerunner to Facebook, where your words tell 1,000 Instagrams. Use your phone for making that call. And get talking across the northeast, please. Because this is Night Owls with Alan Robson.
Hello and welcome everybody. Hope you are well. Hope you are not too red. And can I just say to anybody that's watching this on Facebook, YouTube, you may have to turn the colour down because of the colour of my chest. I only laid down for 45 minutes was it. Didn't put any cream on. Oh, I am radioactive. You know when you go in the bath afterwards? Yeah, it's all of that. So I hope you're looking after yourself. Make sure you stick your aloe vera on. All of that. But I hope you're having a nice time. We're going to start you off with a challenge tonight. And that challenge is really irritating noises. Noises that just drive you wild. Now, I know we've talked about stuff like, fingernails down... People don't rub their fingernails down blackboards. People don't do it. I'm talking about things that you hear every day that just... About 3 nights ago, somebody that lives quite near where I live, their car alarm went off. Beep, 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 beep. For 45 minutes. To the degree that I even got up, got dressed, went along to where they live. They were in bed asleep. And I checked out to make sure they weren't being robbed. Knocked on the door, said, "Do you know your alarm's going off?" "Oh, I hadn't noticed." Beep, 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 beep. Came back, this is about 3 o'clock in the morning. Came back. Got into bed. 5 minutes later. Beep, 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 beep. Do I go? Do I not? I felt almost tempted to steal the car. But anyway, noises that really annoy you. On the other hand, noises that when you hear them, lift your spirits. Like that ice cream van. Your skin's burning off. What better time to have a 99 with 2 flakes? Come on. So we want sounds that make you feel great. And those irritating noises. There's so many irritating noises. Irritating, awful noises. Do tell. What noises particularly irritate you? I knew when I used to live in a flat in... Clever Calvert's just said, strange air-related noises whilst having sex. And I don't think he means because he's been eating pickled onions, but we'll leave it, move on. Heard a lot of people talking about the possibility of more lockdowns. Oh, Emma Louise has been on. I love the sound of a puppy learning to bark. And I really hate sloppy, noisy eaters. I could literally plan their death while they're sloshing the food around in their mouths. And it's the people that decide they only have something to say once their mouth's full. Nicola Cowie, people chewing very loudly. It's back to what I said. They're chewing, and you've got an awful lot in the mouth, but this is the thing on the table I was telling you about. Shut up! Chow it, then talk. Yeah, that's irritating. Irritating. I want irritation from... What irritates you about everything? About your partner, about your children, about your mum and dad, about your nana, about your Uncle Bill. I want to know all of these stories. What annoys you about your friends? Things that do your head in. Tell me all of that. We'll have a laugh on the way. We're hearing that more lockdowns could happen in future. Massive floods in Europe, terrifying things. Have you ever been in a flood? Has your house ever flooded? How did you deal with it? I once had a leaky pipe that brought a bit of ceiling down in a kitchen. That's about as near as I got. And I thought that was pretty scary. Filled about 4 or 5 buckets full of, liquid. Also, somebody I interviewed on TV many, many moons ago passed over this past week. Tom O'Connor. What a shame. Parkinson's disease. Nasty thing. Spain, Greece and France changing the rules over holidays again. Well, Rachel's been on. Hearing some people eat and me dog licking his bits while I'm trying to sleep. As long as he's not licking... No, we'll just leave it there. Walk on, Alan, don't sit. Nearly fell in my own trap there. But all these people have booked holidays thinking, well, hey, we're coming to the end of it. Brilliant. Going on holiday now, and then they get there and discover they've got to pay £500, 250 quid each for a test each, and they can't get in the country unless they pass it. And now they've got to quarantine for a fortnight when they get there and quarantine for a fortnight when they get back. That's not things getting easier, is it? But no masks from tomorrow. What do you think? Lane Cox says, teeth biting on a fork goes right through me. I hate that. Hate that. I also hate that. You made my teeth hurt there. It's that moment when if a fork touches a filling and you get that bit of electricity. Lydia, I so hate the sound of someone stirring their tea or coffee. Ooh, that's a bit radical. Should they just swirl it, you think? Just swirl it. And then just drink it down until they get to the sugary bit. Nathan Hadley, my girlfriend speaking loudly on the phone while I'm trying to watch TV. I hate that. Not your girlfriend, but people in general. The ones that want you to hear everything that's happening in their life. There was a guy parked at the end of my street, and he had his window down, and he was talking hands-free on the phone. So you're going out then, Billy? Yes, I'm going out on Thursday. We don't care. We don't care. Oh, incidentally, talking about going out, Hollywood McShane, who has his finger on the pulse, says that at midnight tonight, the nightclubs are opening in Newcastle, Sunderland, and on Teesside. We know Newcastle, the powerhouse and digital, opening 1 minute past 12. If you're that desperate for a dance, there you go. I think you'd have to be already out. I think we've come to that conclusion. How desperate are you to make a few shapes? 1 minute past midnight. Or listen on to us. That'd be a good idea. Alan Robson with you. Greatest Hits Radio Northeast. Let's get busy. Lots to talk about as well. Masks are not needed, according to scientists, but it's a way of controlling people and teaching us to do what we're told. And we have pretty much, you don't think? Also, how many of you are house dancers and singers? When you're in the house on your own and you hear a good tune, you sing your head off, or you make a few moves. And how many of you have been caught when somebody's heard you or watched what you were doing? Ashley Dodsworth, my boyfriend, writing in saying I'm talking loudly on the phone when he's got you in full blast. It's a man thing, Ashley. He likes butch male voices. That's what it is. And anyway, you didn't have to send me a text. I heard what you said. 01914 488 3188. Yeah, it's one rule for one, isn't it, Ash? That's the thing. What else are we talking about? Oh, this one came in from Duncan. He says, we might never be able to travel abroad again. Isn't this the ultimate racism? Keeping everybody in their own country? What do you think? Also, a vicar could be sacked for hugging a mourner at a funeral because he wasn't socially distanced. I'm a cuddler myself. It's hard not to, you know, under certain circumstances. When it's natural for you to cuddle, that's the thing. I think they should give him a bit of leeway for that one. Because if somebody had lost a family member, I'd have cuddled them as well. Also, a third of Britain intend to ditch their masks as of midnight. And I want to hear your heat stories, because I bet loads of you are incredibly burnt and lathering on the calamite lotion. Aloe vera it was for me, and still where my belt is tied is... Oh, that's just not funny. It's rubbing. Oh, it's rubbing. And is it... Oh, this is for you if you work behind a bar or in a restaurant. Is it common for your bosses to steal your tips? Apparently there's this 2 or 3 restaurants where they've got like a cup where all the tips go, and then at the end of the week, the servers are supposed to divide the tips. Well, the boss says he needs a share, and the cook needs a share, and the people in the back room that wash the pots and stuff, they need a share. I thought it was just for this. You know, if somebody gives you good service, you reward them with a tip. I'm not saying I really thought the pot washer did a good job washing the dishes. Although, I mean, you know, fair dues, he probably gets paid less than anybody, he or she. But what's your view about tips? Any tip stories, do tell. Also, this petrol change. I don't know, Tony, have you heard about this petrol change? They're using different petrol, apparently. We've been using 5, and now we're using 10. Well, I'm a diesel fella, so it doesn't matter to me, but will it affect you? And where are you going to get your 5 from if your car can only fit 5? You're obviously aware that I've got no idea what it all means. But I'm hoping that one of you do. And you can go on and explain what's it all about. And you don't have to be called Alfie. Also, this is, you know, sometimes you see it in a news bulletin, something that your head says that can't be true. Every day when it comes to the stuff we've had in recent years. But this news report said that pensioners, old age pensioners, spend 8 hours a day playing Grand Theft Auto 8. How do they know? Have they asked? I bet you I could ask 1,000 pensioners up north and you'd be lucky to get a dozen. I'm guessing. What do you think, though? Or are grandparents now massive gamers? Up to their neck in Halo? What do you think? 0191 488 3188. Got some live guests chatting, as always. The stars coming out at night for Alan Robson's Night Owls on Greatest Hits Radio Northeast. Got a session as well. Oh, you'll love it. One of the biggest country songs, and even a country song that even you have danced to. Get ready for that. Chris on the switchboard waiting to take your call. Got a chance for you to win one of our Night Owls mugs too. But the most irritating noises are the most fabulous noises. Noises in general we shall talk about. With your permission. 0191 488 3188. But we are greatest hits, so I've got to wallop you one. And it's a good one at that.
St Mary's there, Christian thing, and I found a story about the Holy Ghost, and you think, well, hang on, Jesmond's got the ghost of the Virgin Mary, and now it's got the Holy Ghost too. It just sounds too unbelievable. Yeah. However, a German bomber and half a dozen of his friends started bombing Sandyford Road. 100 homes were badly damaged. 30 houses were wiped out altogether. And 6 people were badly injured because the bombs were bad enough, but you got to remember, a lot of people were in their shelters, you know, because they'd go to bomb shelters. In fact, a place that we've been together doing ghost hunts, the Victoria Tunnels, 9,000 people hid in the Victoria Tunnels during World War II. They just opened the doors. Everybody piled into those tunnels. This is the banqueting hall. Now, St. Mary's Chapel is just on the back of this. I think you know how some of those nettles poke through you? Yeah, that one's just happened. There you go, the banqueting hall. This is the Gothic, as you can tell from its style. What a beautiful house this would make if somebody had probably the millions of pounds it would cost to purchase it. 1870, and that is William Armstrong's crest. I don't know whether you can you see it, Tony? Or better without the torch.
Probably better with this, I think. Yeah.
If I give you a little bit, is that better?
That's good.
You're making it out, and over there, when it was built, 1870. Inside's not coped very well. Look at the roof. Inside the building, you can see. Now, the reason that we're here is for a lovely reason, to be honest. This is the banqueting hall. It was built, and I don't know whether you can see, if you just scan around here. Kenny, scan it with your torch, just this whole area, because this is where the coaches would come in. They'd arrive from Newcastle over here, and they'd follow down here, and they'd stop at the door where the butlers would come out and the chambermaids, and they'd open the carriage doors and they'd help down the ritzy ladies of their day as if they were going to As You Like It or one of the posher nightclubs in town, and they'd go in there through this and it's, you can see the Gothic arches beautifully delivered. Tiny, oh, there you go. Thank you. Tiny little, oh, let me just, the cobwebs in the whole thing. I've just put my hand through one. That's not nice. Small Gothic windows here. And they would come and they'd have a fantastic meal. And the windows at the side overlooked the Ousburn. And there's a woman who worked here her whole life. She was an understairs maid when she started working for rich folks. And she used to work for a rich family in Jesmond, just over yonder. When she got a little bit older, she became a cook and she worked here. And she's supposed to, every now and then, move the curtains back so you can see her. Her name was Bess. She was Lord and Lady Armstrong's cook for something like 25 years in service. She ran the kitchen. She cooked for all of his guests. And she had a back room in the banqueting house. So she was close to where she worked. And it said that she comes to the window, she shows her face, she moves the curtains. And the reason that we're here is because she lived in the eaves of the house in a room, it was said, that had no windows to the right-hand side. So I presume, kind of...
Yeah. I must admit, I'm drawn to this room here. Drawn to that one.
Because you can actually get to see in a little bit, can't you?
You can.
Bit of
Is
damp.
that window smashed there? No,
The middle one's smashed. That one's cracked. And they put paper up to kind of hold it. And that one's still with us. It'll just be some loser who just thinks it's cool to destroy. Because you can actually see the eave. Can you see the ceiling's collapsed down there? And there's the eaves. But if this is where Bess, old Bessie, the cook, still lives, I'd love her to show herself or to make a noise or join us in any shape or form. In fact, I'm going to try the... what was
I
that?
just heard a noise in there.
Give over.
Is there anyone in here? No.
Let me get my microphone up.
I heard a noise inside of there.
Whatever's in there will be aware that we're here.
No, but there was a noise.
Let's summon them properly. We're here for you, Bess. Come on, Bess.
Definitely a noise in there.
What was it like?
Did somebody drop something?
Is there somebody dropped something?
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. From down here, you can see right up to the eaves. Right. Let's try this. See if our ghost radar can help us out. Come on. It's looking. Well, you can see right in from down here, can't you? Oh. Presence detected. I'll point in the direction where it's coming from. That should be the next. It's inside through those windows.
Yeah. No, noise inside.
Says it's a loving spirit. What I'm getting here is in Elizabeth. In
0191 488 3188.
Greatest hits radio.
Few things. Starting off with Alison in Anfield Plain. She says, Alan, can the Night Owls help me? As part of my things to do, now I'm 50, I've decided to face one of my biggest fears and learn to swim. I was traumatised by my swimming tutor when I was about 7. He held my head under the water because I wouldn't do it myself, and I've never really tried to learn to swim since. I can go in the water as long as I can stand up, but I'm looking for a swimming coach in the local area, Stanley Concert, Bertley way, who has the experience of helping people who have fears. But I want to learn to swim. This is really important to me. I'd be so grateful to hear from any night owls who have overcome this problem. Big love to you all. Thanks, Alison. Well, there you go. Can you help Alison? She wants to be a water baby. So what's the best way to move ahead? If you are an expert in that area, do tell. Also, a friend of mine's asked me to put a shout out. They're looking for a small automatic car in good overall condition. What they actually said was they would love a car that's been owned by someone who doesn't do very many miles, and they've kept it in pristine condition, and it's between £400 and £1,000, somewhere in that kind of ballpark. Automatic car in good nick that works and hasn't got any major rust issues. So is there such a thing out there? If there is, get in touch with Chris next door and I'll hook you up. Simple as. And the last thing is Northumbrian Water have been in touch, and they say the noise that irritates them the most is dripping taps. Mine is dripping engineers. Dripping engineers are far worse. But anyway, thanks, guys. Great to hear from you. 0191 488 3188. Get your calls in. We are kicking off with Katie, who happens to be in Ashington. So let's head in her direction right now. Hello, Katie.
Hello, Alan.
Oh, there she is. Hello, darling. What can we do for you tonight?
Right, I would like to talk about my holiday, how many times it's been cancelled because of COVID.
Ay. Yeah, what was it? Where was it? When was it? And all those kind of questions.
Right, it all started last year when we were meant to be going to Germany.
Right.
And obviously my dad wasn't very well at the time as well, so it had to be cancelled because my dad, he's ill health, bless him.
Right. Was it COVID or was it something else?
Well, he's got a leaky heart valve.
Oh,
And
blimey.
he's had it since he was a kid.
Right.
And obviously he had a procedure done down below. And obviously he come back and they were supposed to give him antibiotics.
Right.
And they hadn't.
If he had a procedure done down below, to get to his heart, that's the wrong end. It would be really painful.
But he had prostate cancer in the past. So we
Oh,
thought
he's
it was-
had...
so we-
Blimey,
so we thought it was that.
he's been through the mill. Blimey.
Yeah. So then they told him he was supposed to be admitted because he ended up getting endocarditis. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yes, I do. It's horrible.
Yeah, he ended up getting endocarditis, and then he ended up getting fluid on his lungs, so they couldn't do the operation still. Then he ended up getting kidney failure, so he had to have like dialysis and blood transfusion, God knows what.
Yeah.
And then when he went from intensive care back to the cardiology, he ended up catching COVID, and it knocked him for six a little bit.
I bet.
So I'm so sorry for him.
Blimey, he's had the full set. Is he? How's he doing now?
He's getting a little bit better. He's a bit breathless. He's not the same guy as what he used to be.
Blimey, I'm not
He gets out of breath quite a lot.
Yeah.
He's 73. And I just feel so sorry for him because every time I go and see him now, because I'm not living with him now, I've moved back like with my new boyfriend.
Right.
Every time I go and see him, he's like, "Can you put your mask on, please? Can you put your mask on, please?" And I don't think he'll want us to take my mask off tomorrow. Like, I think he'll want me to still keep it on in case he picks an infection up again.
I think people have got to be sensible about it as well. And it's not that we all don't want to be set free. It's just there's certain situations.
Yeah.
If you're out in the country with your partner or whatever, feel free. But you've just got to be a bit...
I'm still going to wear mine
careful.
tomorrow. I work in a supermarket, so
Right.
my bosses we've got instructions that we still have to wear them.
Right. Ah, well, he's
Well,
taken
on the
he's
shop
taken the
floor,
choice out your hands, really, hasn't he? So anyway, you're talking about how you've had to cancel holidays. I'm glad your dad's feeling better. Let's hope he goes on from strength to strength.
Yeah, and then we're meant to be going to Germany again this year, and obviously the place where the floods are, we go quite near there.
Right.
So obviously we've had to cancel it again. And the North Sea Ferries who we'll go with, my dad's been a person, he's been with them for the last 30 years or more.
Right.
And they just keep giving him a credit note. They won't give our money back.
Oh,
stuff like that.
Oh, that's dubious, isn't it?
Yeah, but my dad, all he does is in Germany. It's a little village where we go. It's called Bacharach. And honestly, he just sits there and watches the boats going up and down the Rhine, has a glass of wine on the terrace, and that's all he wants to do. Just relax on this terrace, and it's just not going to happen.
What a damn shame. But the thing that I hate about credit notes, and I know a credit note's better than no note at all, but everybody's going to be having, it seems, like the whole staycation thing, because you want to do something rather than do nothing, but all your money's tied up.
Yeah, and I don't want him to drive that far neither.
Right.
Because we drive all the way. We drive to Hull, get the ferry across
yeah.
to Rotterdam, then drive from Rotterdam down to where we're going, Germany. But honestly, Holland, I think that's closed still. It's still an amber warning, so still won't let we go through there. And
But your dad's traditionally been the driver, has he?
yeah, he's been the driver all the time. But my niece said she would try and help him.
Right. Yeah,
but
spell him a bit.
She's never drove abroad before, and you know what Germany motorways are like. They drive pretty fast over there.
They do indeed.
Compared to us.
Yeah.
So she might panic a little bit.
It's a big ask, I think. But I think it's a big ask for, and I mean no disrespect to anybody that's in their 70s, but driving across to Europe when your health's been scuttled, that's a big shout. I would be worried about him. But I hear what you're saying. It's not just Germany, and I know Germany's had the horrible floods, but France now.
We've been in Germany once where the rivers burst its banks. We stayed in the campsite, and the campsite's been nearly underwater, where the Rhine burst its banks. And it was funny, but then it wasn't funny in a way.
No, I mean, when you get home, you go, what's that? But you don't want to make a habit of it. That's the thing. You certainly don't want to get in the middle of all of that. Oh, believe me, hey. Well, is there no way you can pressure the company just to refund the money? Because they must be sitting on thousands of...
My dad said he might tell about it, but then he said, what about the others though? They're all right. I don't know what they're going to say. So your dad's got to ring back again pretty soon to see what's happening.
Yeah.
To see if they give one money back or what, I don't know.
Well, it's those things like everybody expects things, everything's going to slot back into normal, and I just get this feeling that it really isn't.
Because my dad just keeps saying, everyone thinks it's gone back to normal. Everyone thinks it's gone. It's not. And
I think we've got a way to go. We've got a way to go, Darren. That's for sure.
Like I work in Morrison's at Morpeth, and
all right.
A lot of people saying, "Why don't you?" I wear a mask, but when I'm out the back doing the dishes,
right,
I don't wear them normally because obviously I'm not putting in the customers, and then I'll put my mask straight back on when I'm serving food and stuff.
Yeah, I just think it's real hit and miss for supermarkets because you guys, you've been in the front line right from the very beginning, and you've worked.
We've been through it. Yeah.
You've worked right the way through, and you know when
even
everybody
when the
else is
closed, we're even still working. Then we're on the shop floor.
Right.
We got put on the shop floor because they couldn't thingy with. What's the word?
Furlough you.
Yeah, that's the word. Couldn't think of the word there.
Yeah.
They couldn't even furlough it, and so I was still working through it on the shop floor, even with the cafe closed when Boris Johnson closed the cafe.
If anybody needs a holiday and deserves a holiday, it's you guys. That's no question about it. Hey, Katie, thank you very much for calling anyway. Appreciate your time. I hope you get away soon. Thanks for ringing in. What a damn shame. I did say that the holiday things, they've let you down. It's just when they say, oh, come to France now. We're opening up. Hey, everything's going to be fine. Then as soon as they get there, you say, but you've got to have a test, and that's 250 quid each. Well, euros each. Which is essentially all your spending money. And if you pass the test, then you can come in. But you got to quarantine for a fortnight. And then when you get back, you got to quarantine for what? 6? So that's if you're going to have a holiday in a hotel, but not able to leave the room for a fortnight. Is that really what you're suggesting? Madness. It's all madness. You best be darned careful. That's my suggestion to you. Talking about irritating habnabs, Stuart's with us, and he is from Hartlepool. Hello, Stuart.
Hello, Alan. Good to speak to you again.
Hello, mate. What can we do for you tonight?
Well, I just thought I'd get in touch and have a go at some of your challenges and, the topic on being sunburned.
Right. So what's happened? What's happened to you then?
Oh, I'm incredibly sore. I'm told I look like a cross between Batman and Robin. You know, Robin, the Crusader.
Right.
And Captain Beetroot.
Oh, well, that's not a good. It's not a good look because pasty people like us, we just. It's not even that we go brown. We go red and then your skin falls off. I mean, that's just what happens. It's not good.
Well, you see, I took everything out with me on Friday.
Right.
And I'm always carrying an extra face mask just in case, one of them breaks and that. Mm-hmm. The only thing I didn't take with me was sunscreen. So it's my fault, really, at the end of the day. But I just didn't count on the on how high the sun was on Friday afternoon. And I just thought to myself, oh, well, might as well enjoy it while it lasts. And
that was the same trap I fell into. To me, it was, well, I've only got half an hour to like 3/4 of an hour, so I'll just go and I'll lie down in the garden. I'll just chill, take a deep breath, because I'm not a good relaxer. I'm always kind of angsty, so I thought, just lie down. So I lay down, and, you roll around for a bit because, as I say, I'm a bit angsty. Then eventually I thought, no, it's all right. It's just going to be all right. How long? What time is it now? Oh, I've 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I'll give it another 10 minutes. And, you drop off for about 15 minutes. Nightmare. Then you wake up and all your skin's tight everywhere.
I decided to get on a bus for the first time in God knows how many years.
Right.
Because of the lockdown, and I went to Seaton.
Ah, lovely. Right.
And about 25 minutes on the bus, and the bus driver had to stop for 5 minutes halfway through, which I don't know why, but we were all like baking like cakes inside.
Yeah, I bet.
So when I got off, headed straight to the chippy, which was like halfway down the street, but it was well worth it,
Sure, absolutely.
Got a nice half lot, went round and found a nice seating area, and I haven't been down for years. It was lovely. The atmosphere was great. And decided to take a nice slow walk back into town, but that was the killer.
Yeah.
I suddenly started getting all sore on my arms, and the next thing I knew, I couldn't hardly move my arms or anything like that.
Did you have short sleeves on, or were you sort of naked to the waist? How brave were you?
I had just a t-shirt and shorts with my sunglasses and that. So, my face was bare, but I could see was a white mark on it.
You're kind of like a reverse Lone Ranger. You got a white mask instead of a black mask.
That's right. Batman and the Cape Crusader type of thing. So anyway, I put a picture of myself up on Facebook just for people to see. And they all laughed, but then they all said, that fish and chips was lovely as well. just to wind them up a bit,
No, it's you don't really expect it. And that thing, when you take your t-shirt off and you've got white, it's like a Sunderland top, isn't it? You've got your red arm and then your little white stump at the end, where your shoulder is. It's not a good look, whichever way you dress it up.
As I said, that truly learnt me lesson. And yesterday, which was even hotter, I only went out to take the rubbish out. I nearly caught fire. I was like, have you ever seen that episode of The Simpsons with Hans Moleman, where he goes out inside and then he suddenly starts pressing on the lips? I felt like Hans Moleman.
I'll tell you, there's a part of your body that you don't expect to knack, but it really knacks. The top of your feet.
All right.
I had flip-flops on. That was a mistake. And the top part of your feet, I've got socks on tonight to come to work. Every step is rubby, painful. Don't want this. That's just nasty. So, out of all of the things, and I understand why, when you go to places like Spain or any of the big holiday resort places, you see all these people on the beach getting beautiful tans, and you see all the ginger people with a hat on under an umbrella. I absolutely know why that happens now, and I would rather be pasty under an umbrella with me hat on than going through. Just you get into bed, you put a sheet on, and it's like.
Yes. I got just sleep with the sheet on like a corpse in a morgue these last few nights. That's how hot it's been. Honestly,
you're hoping for arousal just to keep the sheets off your body. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's annoying though when you have to get up and go to the toilet and all that.
Well, you're not alone anyway. At least that's the case, Stuart. Brilliant. Anything else while you're on, man?
Yeah, just a few. One more thing.
Sure.
You were talking about irritating noises earlier.
Definitely.
I've got a top 5 and a top 3. What would you like to hear?
Oh, give me a top 5 any day. Yeah, go for it.
All right, okay. So my top 5, number 5, the sound of a dripping tap. You've just mentioned that a few moments ago before you.
Yeah. Because you start listening for it.
Yeah.
There it is. And then it stops for about 3 seconds. You go, then it's yeah.
It's annoying when you're watching a program as well and you can hear it in the background. Yeah. So that's number 5.
Right.
Number 4, the sound of screaming kids.
Yeah, that's a given. And it's always somebody else's kid, either in a cafe, a restaurant, you're sunbathing, heaven forbid.
It's always when you're sort of like in shopping malls and say you just sat down having a coffee and that, and then there's some bumper cars going on, and then the kids are like screaming to go on them, and there's just no need for it.
Yeah. I mean, because we were never children or anything, were we?
No. You just sort of like realised yourself, God, was that all that true? What my dad told me about me when I was young?
I bet you. I bet you.
Number 3.
Yeah.
Car alarms. Honestly, horrendous. I just cannot get away with them. Number 2, the sound of dogs barking.
Gotcha. Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. It's just it has to be the worst torture I've ever encountered, especially when you're trying to sleep on a night. You've just got someone's dog that's been let out. This won't stop barking.
Yeah.
But there you go. And
the funny thing is, though, about the dog thing is the people who own the dog think that you have to find their dog a wonderful and fascinating creature, and I just see them as a noisy no. And I've got a couple down the street from where I am that they're big dogs. You know, they're like Shetland. They're like Shetland ponies, and there's some kind of show dog because there's a car full of like medals and medallions in the street. So presumably they show them, but because they're so big, the bark travels even further.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's really.
Right, so come on, what's number one?
Right, number one, and this is louder than dogs and car alarms and screaming kids and path stripping. Number one irritating noise for me has to be seagulls.
Seagulls?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird, because, again, if you live anywhere near the coast, I actually quite like that. I quite like it.
Well, it's not fun when they're having a party on your roof at 5 in the morning.
No, that's true. That is absolutely true. But it's funny because if you go to a place, for example, Sea Houses for some reason has become a place that I've been to a few times in a short space of time, and when you get there, the first noise you hear when you get out of the car, all the seagull noises, and it's atmospheric if you don't live by the sea, but if you get it every day, I could imagine that's wearing.
Well, especially in a town like Hartlepool, it's a coastal town, so like there's always like seagulls around. But yeah, that's my top 5 irritating noises. I was going to give you an idea for a challenge for a future show if you want to hear it.
Yeah, do it, please.
So I don't know if you've ever done this challenge before or asked this challenge before. It's what TV shows would you like to see come back?
Oh, well, that's actually quite a good one, isn't it? Hey, do you know the problem I have with that question is the TV shows that I thought, wouldn't it be good if that came back? Most of them have, and they're awful.
I know what you mean.
Have you seen the new Hawaii 5-0?
No, but I have heard stories about it, and I never watched the old series, but a lot of people say about the new one's quite good, fast action and that.
I just like the old one a lot.
Yeah.
And Magnum has come back with another guy playing the Tom Selleck role, and it's kind of like, I'm not getting it. Charlie's Angels, the recent film.
I mean, old programs that were turned into films or something like that.
We could certainly ask. We can ask the question. I'm sure everybody's got a view. Stuart, thank you very much. Anyway, I'm glad you rang. Thanks for coming on, man.
Would you like to hear one more thing before I go on?
Yeah, go for it. No worries.
I do quite a good impressions, and I was wondering if you'd like to hear my impression of you.
Oh, dear. Yeah, yes, of course. I would love to hear an impression. Come on.
Are you sure? I don't want you to cut me off in an anger.
No, go for it.
Here we go. Hello and welcome along to Night Owls with Alan Robson. We're talking about all sorts tonight. If you want to get your calls in, it's 0191 488 388. And we're on the eve of Freedom Day tomorrow, so what's your thoughts and opinions on that? I'd like to hear them. On next, Stuart from Hartlepool. Hello, Stuart.
How have I made a living? Stuart, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. Take it easy. Bye-bye. Oh, really? Oh, dear. Anyway, Sando is on the line from Wallsend. Hello, Sando.
Hello, Alan. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for calling in. What's brought you to us tonight then, Sando?
Right, well, I was watching your Ghost Hunt on Thursday because I've been watching them every week since you started doing them.
Great.
And particular interest to me was, firstly, when you went Jesmond Dean, I think, like most people, I didn't realise how much history there was there.
Neither me.
the kind of place where, you know, oh, it's beautiful, you go for a walk, you relax. And all the times I've been there, Pets Corner, whatever, I never ever really thought about the history of the place. And so I just found that really interesting and a new dimension on when you think about it.
To
now.
me, Jesmond Dean, it was a park. You shrug your shoulders, it's just a park. And then when you look into it, I didn't even know the Jesmond thing. For somebody who was born and raised in the vicinity, to not even know where the word Jesmond comes from.
I didn't tell you mentioned it. I know.
It's embarrassing, really.
But the other thing that I'm ringing about, it's not a spooky story, but when you went to the carriage, which is Port of Call in Sandyford, well, what I'm ringing for was, I used to work right beside there, and I remember when the carriage was made into that pub.
Right,
And now, as you went from the main road, and before you turn right, where the tea centre is, you turn right to go in where the carriage is.
Round that corner from the bottom of Archibald Terrace.
Yes. Well, on that main road, some people will have seen it. There's a huge big building. It's 12 stories, but it's empty. It's been empty for a long time.
Right.
Bus stop outside it. And that used to be Tyne-and-Wear County Council.
All right,
Now, the County Council obviously doesn't exist now because all the local authorities it was devolved.
Yes.
However, although we've got the county. And when I started working there, that area around there, they were all essentially like new buildings. And at the time, when you went round there and you were following the road round, also on your left, there's a place called As You Like It, which is like a restaurant and pub.
Yes.
Now, that used to be a bank.
All right.
It was, and the reason I remember that was because at the time, a lot of government departments or like big organisations used to pay you by cheque because there wasn't as many people had bank accounts.
Right, gotcha.
And we used to get what cheque with what payslip in an envelope, and everybody used to pile into that bank on payday. And because they were like proper government cheques, they would cash them straight away for we. You see, that was the thing.
Gotcha.
We didn't have to wait 3 days and one thing and another. And up the road from there was the Royal Archer pub, which is still there.
I remember it. Yeah, right on the. It's on the corner at the top on the left, isn't it?
It is. Well, because one of my friends actually had a wedding reception in there.
Right. Yeah.
And the news agents next door, and the building I worked in, if you know the building I mean, used to look down on the railway station, and at the time there was only the Royal Archer there, and then they started converting the carriage into what it's now known as a pub.
Yes.
And I can remember, because it was like a station waiting room, really.
That's right, yeah, that's what
the way
it was.
I remember it, like a waiting room. And we used to obviously only had the Archer there at the time, and we used to pile in on birthdays, Christmas, whatever.
Yeah.
And I can remember when the first Christmas that the carriage pub was actually open. And it was great for us. Oh, great, we've got somewhere else to go.
Yeah.
Piling in there. And when I watched the Ghost Hunt the other night, it looked different inside to obviously what I can recall from when I first went in.
That's funny.
Because it's beautiful inside. But it was more like stone inside, and there was like railway lamps and things inside it.
Right, yeah.
As far as I can remember, yeah. And the building that I worked in, that actually had a bar in there on the 12th floor. And the reason it had a bar in was because with being a county council, you used to get councillors going in for council meetings. And when we did the elections and stuff like that and things. And, I mean, it had a posh restaurant, which I used to add. I was never able to afford to go in, you know. I mean, unless the boss was treating with Christmas sort of thing. But, so it actually had a bar up there as well in that building. And I worked on the ground floor, which is the one where you can see as you drive up and down that road. But the funniest thing was when you were going from Jesmond Dean, and Tony was in the back trying to like navigate with the driving, and it was quite funny because he was saying, "Oh, I think it's right then left," and I totally forgetting that you couldn't hear us. I'm saying, "No, straight on," and then you turn right at the roundabout by the TA, because obviously I knew the way, and and I'm shouting as if they could hear us, you know. And so for me it was quite interesting because, like I say, I remember being there when all that was kind of just being developed.
No, it's great. The good thing about it, though, is it's in wherever you happen to be, from Yorkshire up to the Scottish borders, it's our backyard. We should know these things. We should know these places. And I bet there was an awful lot of people that didn't even know there was a lovely new vegan restaurant just around the corner from As You Like It. You know, so it's all kind of good. Hey, but thank you very much, Sando.
All right.
Anything else, darling?
No, that was it. Alan. It was just
Lovely.
for the nostalgia for me. And
Hey, good
it
stuff.
was great. And I thought there'd be things there that people didn't know, like that was a bank and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, it's great for
And,
telling us. Thank you.
Okay, no problem, Alan.
Sando, thank you, darling.
Bye-bye.
Take
Bye.
care, bye-bye. There you go. Sando, keeping us right. Got a bit of a gift for you now. The Mavericks had a massive, massive hit. I managed to have a chat with Raul Malo, who just happens to be the lead singer of said band.
When you get to the teenage years, when you were doing probably very bad things.
Very bad
Because you look like the kind of guy that's probably done some bad stuff in his time. So you get to those kind of teenage years where your parents are saying, oh, what's he done this time, to people. What were you listening to then? And did you move away from that kind of mainstream stuff that your parents, great stuff, but mainstream stuff that your parents were listening to?
I was really, I was really into the Police and Queen. Funny enough, in my teenage years. Yeah.
But they're British. I'm sorry, they're terribly British people.
I know, but it just sounded exciting to me. I really, I still fancy those records. I still like them. Listening back to them. You don't hear stuff like that for a while, and then you put it on, you go, wow, that was quite good.
Still works, though.
Yeah, still quite good.
Sign as somebody that knows what they're doing again.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so then you come up to the present day where you're now international selling artiste with hits galore and people that love you. The following that you've got, and I know it spawns from the Mavericks, but it's certainly going to cross over to your solo stuff because it's kind of exciting, I think, to dive out of an established something and then start saying, but hang on, this is what I do. Was it not frightening as well?
Yeah, sure, it's frightening. But to me, that's what keeps it exciting for me. Is the fact that you can go from something that's established and obviously the Mavericks were successful and all that. But I think also that works against you because what happens is record labels and whatnot. People start even within the band. You start to do the same things over and over again, and creatively it just starts to get a little stifling. So this was definitely a leap of faith, but to me that's what makes it exciting, and that's what keeps me going as far as making music. Right. I'd like to play Dance the Night Away for you.
Beth? Is Bessie? I don't know. Let's type it again, see if there's anything else. It just says in Elizabeth. Come on.
Looks like someone in the middle window here.
What?
On camera.
What?
You look in the camera. Looks like there's a figure.
We got a figure.
Where?
Look, don't put it. Don't look at Tony's. Look at the camera.
Yeah, look at the screen in the middle window.
Well, hang on. Let me put this on. See if we can confirm it. It points to where it's locating them.
I'm on a small screen, but
maybe it's on a big screen. It'll not be. Looks like it. Leave it off for the moment, Kenny. Just to check this. I got in a presence detective. Where is it? Where is it? I heard that. That was from inside.
That was like a bump, wasn't
It was a big, like moving furniture. Receiving message, it says.
Just moved?
It's moved.
Oh, yeah, don't believe this. See where it's pointing? Hurt, an image that's hurt. Receiving a message. Oh, lots of words. I trust instinct. Wrong. I trust instincts. Wrong. What the hell does that mean?
That you trusted someone wrongly.
Yeah.
This is moving, this figure.
Can you
God.
see it on there?
Stay on it. Stay on it.
You can see that on there, can't you? I can see it through your camera there.
Some stuff happening.
There's definitely two noises in there as well, mind.
It was like somebody moving furniture.
Yeah.
Is it still got it, Tony?
Yeah. Moving. Look.
It's Bessie. Hi, Bess. Do something for us. Wave at us. What the hell? That's clear, though. It's clear on your camera. How come?
It's weird.
How come we can't see it? Never thought in a million years we'd get something like that as clearly.
That is weird.
What are you getting, Kenny?
I'm here on a horse, Ken.
In here?
Yeah.
Clear the cobwebs away because there's stuff on it. I'm going to put my microphone right up.
As if somebody just went. Do you know when someone sighs?
Yeah, yeah. Where from? Where from?
From here.
I'm going to put the mic right up against the window. It's physically touching it. If there's anything in there, make a noise. Oh, good gracious. I dare you. Put if a face appeared on the opposite side of that glass. Let's give it a try. Put the camera there. Come on. Show yourself. Show yourself. Make a noise. Make a noise. Did you hear that?
Like
Scraping noise.
Yeah, like it.
Yeah, scraping noise. Come on. Don't know whether that's me leaning against it or not.
She's looking at you because she's not moving, that figure.
The top.
Yeah, it's
Bess.
still there.
Thank you, Bess. I'm just frightened to put you know, it's like that, seeing things out the corner of your eye. I don't want to.
Well, people are seeing it. And, you know, I've moved the camera down to see you guys and it's just still there, or it's still there.
There's movement in here, like. There's noise and movement in here.
Noise and movement, Kenny.
Want to open this?
Oh, you're going through the letterbox. What can you see through there?
Can't really see much. But when I opened it,
What the hell? It's pitch black through there.
there's a noise.
How can anything not light up when you've got a torch on it like this? Isn't that weird?
There's noise in there, though. Definitely heard something in there.
If there's anything in there, grab his hand.
I don't see that.
Is there anything there just blocking it? Is this like cloth or something? Well, why is it so black?
I'm not lighting up.
There? Did you hear that?
I guess.
There's somebody in there. There's footsteps in here.
Ah! That got pushed there.
It's on a spring, mine, Ken.
No, it doesn't matter.
You all right?
Yeah.
It's cut your knuckle.
That got pushed there.
He's cut his knuckle. What was that?
It's in there. Honestly, I heard noises in there.
What's your fingers? Don't. You bled enough, man. I just heard a noise over here.
Ask Betty to open the door.
Oh,
Yeah. Bessie,
cut it there.
he's got a cut on his hand. Slam shut on him. Yes. Oh, it's people. Just cut his hand. Yes.
See, I bleed for us, look.
Look, he's shining the torch up and she goes.
She just wants
Then
to.
he comes back.
She wants to be left alone.
No one lives there, do they?
No. But I heard footsteps in there.
I heard noises in there, yeah. And like a hissing.
And it was funny because when you opened the letterbox, you put a torch in, it should light up because it's pitch black. I don't understand why. How long do we stare at her in the window?
I know.
Come on.
But every time I go back to the window, it's like.
Cut me hand. Blood.
I think she might have gone now.
Bizarre. Well, come on, we've got to head back. Let's get back into the darkness. Like we do, Tony. Over to you. Thank you, Bessie. Bessie, Lord Armstrong's cook. Celebrity guest.
Contemptuous, the PM backtracked just hours after his initial announcement.
We did look briefly at the idea of us taking part in the pilot scheme, which allows people to test daily. But I think it's far more important that everybody sticks to the same rules. And that's why I'm going to be self-isolating.
At least 180 people are now known to have died in floods across Western Europe as the rescue operation continues. German authorities say they'll need more than £250 million of immediate aid to support communities. A teenager has died following a collision involving his e-scooter and a car in southeast London. A man's been arrested on various offences, including causing death by dangerous driving. It's been the hottest day of the year so far in England and Wales. Met Office data shows temperatures reached 31.6 degrees at Heathrow and 30.2 in Cardiff. In golf, Colin Morikawa has won his second major title by lifting the Open at Royal St George's. The American didn't drop a shot in his final round to finish 2 strokes ahead of Jordan Spieth. England have levelled their T20 cricket series with Pakistan after a 45-run victory at Headingley. Pakistan couldn't get near a target of 201. Josh Butler top scored for England with 59 and says they can be satisfied with their efforts.
I thought it was a great team performance. We asked a lot of the guys to improve on a few things from the other night, and I thought we got a really good performance today.
And Lewis Hamilton has won the British F1 Grand Prix. He was able to overhaul Ferrari's Charles Leclerc in the final laps to claim a dramatic victory. Valtteri Bottas finished third. From Sky News, I'm Andy Hayes.
Thanks, Andy. Alan Robson with you, Greatest Hits Radio North East. Thank you very much for calling and listening and tuning in and watching on your big screens and all the stuff that you do. Thank you kindly. Right, first clue that could win you the mug that was here, but that's been taken away. You'd be surprised. This building is shrinking. Underneath us, it's shrinking, I tell you. Anyway, I think somebody probably used it for a cup of tea, but anyway, it's gone. A Hollywood mixture. It's gone. Tony, they've mugged.
Last time I found this.
Is it round the back? I think they've used it. There you go. Because I think there's a one on the draining board in the little kitchenette thing. So I'm fairly sure that's ours. But anyway, not to worry. You could win it. Not that one. A fresh one in a box. 4 clues, and you've got to work out the greatest hit link. Okay? The greatest hit link. Clue number 1. This is the colour that Crystal Gale's brown eyes turned. Okay? This is the colour that Crystal Gale's brown eyes turned. Okay? That is your first clue. Thank you, Tony. There you go. You could win one of these. Just a one that hasn't had coffee in it. So there you go. Clue number 1. This is the colour that Crystal Gale's brown eyes turned. And apologies for a little bit of noise in the background. we've got all the doors open because our air conditioning's not working because it's hot. They expect to heat us up. They don't expect to cool us down. That's the way that it works. So, first clue down, 3 more clues to come. Get ready. Sue from Washington has a beautiful brown tan all over her body, but her face is bright red because she forgot to put the factor on her face. So it's probably glowing. Let's get to the calls, though, because we have Courtney, who's with us in North Shields. Hi, Courtney.
Hello.
Hello there. What can we do for you tonight, Courtney?
Well, I wanted to give a shout out to my partner on HMP Northumberland.
Okay. What's his name?
Noah Hubbard.
Right, okay. What else?
And the most irritating noise is a cuckoo bird. A cuckoo pigeon.
A cuckoo pigeon?
hmm
Right, okay. Is that like a mad pigeon, or is it just a pigeon that does cuckoo impressions?
It's a mad pigeon that does cuckoo impressions.
Fair enough. Anything else then?
No, that's it.
Okay, thanks for calling. 0191 488 3188. I would imagine his worst noise was when the hammer came down and they said he was going to prison. 0191 488 3188. Trevor Gateshead. We have, I think, next on the line. Let's go there. Hi, Trevor.
Hi, matey.
Hi, what can we do for you?
Hello. I've seen you were creased at me text before about the noises.
I was. Thank you for that.
Right. Who does Boris Johnson think he is like, Alan?
Well, he thought he was going to get away with it. Then the press turned against him, so he thought, oh, well, we were thinking about it, but we weren't seriously thinking about it.
Yeah, man, that would have been outrage, man. Who does he think he is? Who do they think they are like, you know what I mean?
Well, they can get away. You've got to remember what they've been doing for the last 18 months is telling us what to do without ever voting for it in the House of Commons because they've used emergency powers. In other words, while we've got emergency powers, we can do what we like and nobody can stop us. So, you see, now it comes to, oh, well, I've got a quarantine, but I can make a special, because we're special. We can do what we like.
Well,
and the public have tugged his chain a bit. That's what's happening.
He wasn't going to quarantine till everybody kicked off him, was he?
Yeah. But it's kind of typical Boris, though, isn't it, to say, well, we were thinking about that. He wasn't just thinking about it, he was going to do that. And if nobody said anything, he would have done it. You know, that's the truth of it. I think we all know that. I don't know.
Right, it's great. Anyway, this is what I've only rang up for a quick one, Alan.
No worries.
He's just a cauliflower head, man, and they're all liars. They're all liars. We're all getting lied to. If you have your job or your double job, you can still spread it or
catch it.
Still spread it or catch it. Right? So
to me, that means it doesn't work, though, doesn't it?
Exactly, mate. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Alan.
If you can still catch it and you can still pass it on,
right?
I mean, they say, oh, it's increased your protection, but has it really? If you can still catch it and you can still pass it on, I thought the whole point was it made you at least safe, but it seems that's not the case anymore.
Exactly. I still haven't had mine, mate, and I still would.
Right.
No, not a chance. And I've seen this. This is another thing I wanted to mention to you, mate, about this COVID carry on. Like I've always said, like for the last year, I do believe there's something out there, but I think they're making a molehill about it. You know what I mean? I've seen this clip on American TV on the internet the day I was watching it, and there was this news report that says everybody that opening lock. Like, we're leaving lockdown, so everything's opening back up, and so-called Freedom Day tomorrow, aye? They're only opening everything up, even though they know the infection rates are going up, aye? They're only opening up because the statistics haven't met the amount of people that wanted to die of this virus, hasn't met their numbers.
Right, so they want more people to get infected and die to lower the population on the planet.
Yes, mate. Yes. So
if there's any truth, and we're not going to find out anytime soon. No, but if there were to be any truth in that, you couldn't make a horror film with that kind of thing. You know,
you couldn't, mate. Could you? You couldn't. You're right. It's insane, mate. It's like the infection rate now is through the roof compared to what it was in February when we were all in lockdown. So my point is, why the F is everything getting opened back up?
Well, you've asked a question. Let's see what the people say. Trev, thanks for calling.
No problems, mate.
Good to hear from
I'll
you.
catch you next week, Alan.
Look forward to it. Thank you, Trevor. There you go. Talking about strong stuff, Trevor. And yes, we've had 1,000 and a zillion and a quadrillion conspiracy theories. And you never know. We have no idea. We just try and get along and try and not do anybody any harm and try and have people as healthy as they possibly can be. It's just getting harder to find out who you can actually trust. It really is a tricky bit. 0191 488 3188. We're off to Exeter now, where we find Dave. Hi, Dave.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, man. Good to talk to you again. What you got for us tonight?
Well, I was going to talk about a sound that irritates me, but I've got something else to get off my chest, first of all. I'm not going to talk about COVID, but I just went out into my little courtyard that I've got here to bring in my washing, would you believe?
Right.
Even though it's pitch black, I thought I need to bring this stuff in. Looked up at the night sky, and of course, there's no clouds. It's all clear with all the stars twinkling. And then there was one bright white orb going across with no sound. And I thought, wow, that is big. No sound at all, going in a straight line. And I take it must be a satellite.
Right, it's possible.
It's possible. Now, I've been told about Elon Musk and his company SpaceX. Do you know about this?
Yes,
Yeah, it's not good, is it?
Well, to me, I've on purpose, I've kind of zoned out about all of these millionaires just, with their space kind of wet dream thing going on. Haven't I got so much money I can do anything that I want to do? And get on with it. Oh, and I think it's really interesting, but the man who said he was going to pay 28 million, he couldn't fit it in his schedule. Whoever bid that obviously was pulling their chain. Yeah. And when it came to signing the check, the guy went, I haven't got that kind of money. What do you think I am? And there's, we've given his place to... there's an awful lot here that...
I think the big point to me is just that, the night sky is something that we all should have ownership of, do you know what I mean? And the fact that the plan is to put I think it's somewhere in the region of 40,000 satellites up.
Right.
And at the moment, it's 4,000. I was just checking it. We've got 4,300 odd satellites up across the night sky.
Right.
And this guy and his company have been given permission to put up tens of thousands. It's just outrageous.
But what for?
What for? No, exactly. I haven't looked into it thoroughly, but it's something to do with strengthening the quality of internet across the planet.
That's what he says.
That's what he says.
And the thing is, and again, I've got no reason to doubt the man.
Yeah.
Because hey, fair dues, that may well be what he's doing. But you could say anything, because there's nobody going to go up there and say, hang on, let me see what reception... There's nobody going to do that. So you could arguably, because they talked about some years ago, if you remember, the big chat was all about the Star Wars defense. Nobody will be able to fire a missile because from space we got these lasers and they're going to... And then we heard no more of that.
That's true.
And now multimillionaires are sticking all these things up there that we've got no idea what they do, what they're for, what they're going to do. We've got no mechanism as a society to... we'll send up the space police.
Yeah.
They'll check on them,
It just seems incredible that a private company, a wealthy, multi-billionaire wealthy person can... I've overstated that one, but the point being that a private person can do this to our night sky. I think that in itself, apart from thinking about what it's for and what potential it has, what political...
potential
it has. But, the fact that this is going up into my night sky, I don't want it.
Well, you say that, but next time you're watching a film on Netflix and it starts to wobble, or you get that little swirly button in the middle just going round and round and round,
yeah,
and Elon's satellite just happens to be in the right place to go, play, you'd probably give them a round of applause because we're a bit fickle.
Yeah.
We're fickle in that regard. It's just I'm a great believer in responsibility.
Yeah.
And if you should be responsible for it, you should also be sure that it's all right for everybody because it's universal space. It doesn't belong to us. It belongs to all of us if it belongs to anybody.
Exactly. Somebody made a point. I've just read it. That somebody made a point that if somebody's going to build an extension that is going to dominate the light next to your garden, you can have a word with the council. They have to try and get permission. But this is happening, without any consent from the population. Anyway, we don't know what the answer is, but I just thought I'd say I think I've seen one.
Right. Well, I mean, you see, as far as I'm concerned, and as soon as they were going, this one's going up first, no, that one's going up first, and they'll take people up if you want to go.
Yeah.
And you say, yeah, for 28 million, right? So that kind of narrows the field somewhat. As soon as it got to that, I just thought, let them get on with it.
I know.
And I felt that because if, in hand on heart, and I truly believe, if I had the kind of money that the people we're talking about have, there are at least a good 100,000 ways that I could improve life for billions.
Certainly.
Of people on the planet. Even just, you'd never, if I had that kind of money, you would never see an advert that said, this woman's eyelashes are growing in, this young lass's eyelashes are growing inwards.
Yeah.
She's in great pain every second. Or this child will be blind unless he gets £5. Those kind of things would be rendered unnecessary if I had that kind of money.
If you did end up into that strata of society, you'd have to deal with the elites and the corporates.
Why?
And you would probably be going to Davos and having to argue your case.
Why?
They would come down heavy on you, man, because...
For charitable donations, you get a tax break. Come on. I mean, they would benefit from... And I'm sure they'll say, oh, well, we do charitable things too. For the cost of one flight, think of the good that they could do for people on the planet, not for people that are not on the planet.
I think there are people who want to do good, but they don't get the access to do it,
I mean, it's very easy to say you'll give your money away when you haven't got any money.
Well, yeah. Anyway, what I was going to come on and say was the irritating sound.
Yes.
That keeps coming back each year. I live by a cemetery with lots of trees. It's a beautiful cemetery in the centre of Exeter.
Right.
It's got beautiful, big trees and lots of bird life. And but there's a blackbird that keeps coming back every year. And don't get me wrong, the blackbird song is beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I remember the old days when it would just be sort of random, that type of thing.
So what's this one doing? Playing the harmonica?
This one actually it actually sings a tune that it does its usual and all that sort of thing, but then it suddenly goes in the middle of it.
Right.
And the point is, whenever I hear it, I think, no, don't. That's not what the blackbird should sing. He's obviously picked it up from some
other bird.
Other bird, did you say?
Yeah. Some other bird's been whistling it and he's thought, that's catchy.
I'm thinking he's picked it up from a human sound or a human
car alarm or something.
A ringtone or something.
Yeah.
But it's a dee-doo-doo, and then back to the random stuff.
Right.
And I just think,
yeah, just
that's
be a
annoying.
bird. Just be a bird. None of that other nonsense.
Can I say one more thing?
Go on in.
Right. Football.
Yes.
I know that's a huge subject. And I'm not going to go too deep into it, but I grew out of following football quite a while ago. So observing England's defeat last week didn't bother me at all.
Right.
I gave up on that a long time ago. Right. But being from the northeast, obviously, I've got a fondness for the teams in the north, particularly Sunderland, I'm sorry to say, because I know that you love Newcastle.
I love Sunderland too. I've been loyal and steadfast to all of the local clubs.
Yeah, well, there we go. But I was watching documentaries on Gaza, And I had no idea his stint when he went up to Glasgow Rangers. The football that he played and the goals he scored were unbelievable. Have you seen them?
Yes, they're incredible.
That's the best part of his career, and I completely overlooked that and had no idea.
Because we don't look over the border nearly enough. There's some good stuff going on. Must move on, but thank you for coming on, man. Great to hear from you again.
Yes, I've been on long enough. I'll see you soon.
Thanks for calling. You take it easy. Bye-bye. Well, it's not that he's been on long enough. We've got stuff and a quick piece of music from the Beatles, and then we'll be straight back with you. And talking about blackbirds, I so wish this was Blackbird Singing in the Dead of Night, but it isn't. But it's pretty damn special.
Me otherwise.
Lead the way, yeah. There's also in Jesmond Dean a big statue of a lion. We haven't come across it, but we may still yet. And if you see the statue of the lion, it's a place of good luck. But when you see the big concrete lion, you've got to roar like a lion. And if you don't roar like a lion, you'll get bad luck. So, I mean, this is what the Victorians believed. People haven't been doing it for 100 and odd years, but they should start to make that again. Also, just up the road from here, a parachute mine fell here in Jesmond Vale. 47 people were killed, 23 were maimed, 47 injured. 16 houses destroyed, 300 damaged. And 4 months later, Winston Churchill came here to see the damage and walked through Jesmond Dean. And the weirdest thing was the following year, the leader of the Free French, Charles de Gaulle, he ghosted and never quite got to the story because oh, look at this house. German aircraft path hid in the Dean. 6 were injured, but this bloke, Gordon Rowe, his name was, from Jesmond, he died of his injuries. And the people that have seen his ghost here,
we are back.
hello, everybody. Sorry about that. Just in the middle of telling you about this guy, Gordon Rowe, who's known as the Holy Ghost because he was machine gunned by a German plane, and his ghost is said to walk along these paths here in Jesmond, especially on this side. And he's called the Holy Ghost because you can see the bullet holes right through him, and apparently he had half a dozen of them at the time.
Does he whistle when the wind blows?
Oh dear. Thanks, Kenny. Does he whistle when the wind blows? Pet's Corner. If you've ever been down here, we might not get a chance to get to Pet's Corner because time is cracking on. But if you get to it, there's a place there called the Red Walk. And that's because there's apparently the ghost of a murdered serving girl who wears a red jacket, commonly seen there. And people say she's friendly enough, but she keeps unbelievers away from the place by frightening them. There's Coleman's Field that leads to Armstrong Park with a thing called the Cattle Run. A lot of people say it was to stop cattle getting into the park. The truth of it was built for rich people to have it. Voice, scream off to your left-hand side, Tony. There's voices from down there.
There's no one there.
That's the used burn, of course. We're getting voices again. But they built this thing that looks like an underpath, but it was actually for posh people to be able to walk to posh apartments without having to bump into common people like us. And that's what it was for. Oh, listen to that. Did you hear that? Did you hear that howl?
Yeah.
Up that path there?
Is this like where we came down?
Ooh, is that where we came down?
I think it was.
Just heard a howl. There's an old well of King John a little bit further along, but it wasn't the real King John. It was a tramp called John who called himself King John. He engraved it on the side, called it his well, and there's a bit of rubble next to it where he lived, and he called that
That is an airplane, isn't it?
his palace. It is. How are we doing for signal? Are we still on?
We're still on.
Good. I'm gonna. Oh yeah. Do you think we'll make it along here? Or?
I think we will for a bit, yeah.
Let's try. We got.
If the signal goes, let me know, please.
Please, and then we'll. Because there's stories in all directions, and I want to tell you the story from the places where they occurred. There's a grand house just along here called the House of Adam. And Adam was a knight, not a knight of the round table, but a knight. And he was a very close friend of King Henry III. Now, I named King Henry III last week, and it wasn't him. It was Richard the... Ooh, did you hear that? Or it could be... It's punters.
Yeah, it's people. There's a path down there.
They're in harmony. Let's just enjoy them. Just stop for a second. Just wait till our friends move on. Let me quickly tell you about this.
Greatest Hits Radio.
We are still looking for two things. Alison's still looking for somebody who is a swimming coach, somebody in the Concert Stanley, Berkeley areas. If you are a swimming coach or someone who can teach someone who has a fear of water how to do it, please get in touch and we'll hook you up. We're also still looking for an automatic small car in good overall condition, good bodywork, between £400 and £700 or around that. If anybody has one, if you're trying to move one on, get in touch. 0191 488 3188. That's what we're chasing. Paul Michaels has been on, listening every week, enjoying the ghostly trips on Facebook and YouTube every Thursday, and he would love to meet me and talk about paranormal things. Well, one day I'm sure that can happen. Neil's been on, says, if they are changing the fuel because it's cleaner, will it reflect in the price of vehicle tax? Good question. I don't trust anything anywhere anymore. Just how it is. Anyway, let's go across and talk to whoever is next, and I believe it is... Yeah, it's Tony in Newcastle. Hello, Tony.
Hi, Alan, you all right?
I'm good, mate. Good to talk to you. What's your topic tonight, then, To?
First of all, it's good to be back on. I was on your show 2 weeks ago,
right?
Talking about my little business venture.
Yes,
Kelly's Holiday Lodges, up in Northumberland.
How's it going? You getting people? You getting bums in there?
Yeah, it's going really well. Good. I just want to come on again and just talk about basically the emotional story or history behind why we got the lodges.
Okay.
And then obviously I'll talk about the time in the army, if that's all right.
Sure, go for it.
Okay, about 2 years ago, my wife Vanessa was unfortunately diagnosed with breast cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Touch wood, everything's okay now. It's went well, so but fingers crossed it carries on.
Sure.
Going well. Anyway, she went through all the treatments straight away. The RVI for the Freeman Hospital and the RVI were brilliant. Got her straight in and got her straight into and got the various treatment and so on.
Right.
And just before she done radiotherapy, we actually got through a cancer charity a holiday away at a log cabin in the Forest Holidays. And they paid for it, me and the two boys to go away and spend a weekend in a log cabin in the Forest Holidays, which was outstanding. It was brilliant.
And that gave you a taste for it, did it?
Yes, it did. Yeah, that's what got the ball moving.
Right.
What stopped with thinking anyway, and looking. You know, this is brilliant. And I was always thinking, I'm coming out of the army in a couple of years' time, and I'm lucky that I do come up with the army with a nice big pension, a nice lump sum after 24 years service.
Yeah, you deserve it.
Yeah. So we're always looking and seeing what we're going to do and so on. We started thinking of that. And anyway, obviously, Vanessa went back in and finished off our treatment. And like I said, fingers crossed, it all went well and it's looking good. And then for my youngest son's birthday, Vanessa's dad took her away to another log cabin up in Northumberland.
Right.
And he took her away, and that's when we really looked at it again. And our dad, Edward, very clever man, he said, "No, you could do this. You could buy one of these lodges and rent them out. You can make a good go of this, and you know this. I can see you doing this, and that's what got we're thinking again. I think you're right there. We could make a good deal of that, a good go of it in the business. And then obviously COVID kicked in and so on, and we stopped everything.
Absolutely.
Then unfortunately, Edward caught COVID and unfortunately died April last year through COVID. So that got us thinking again after that, and we wanted something as a bit of a lasting memory, if you like. And obviously Vanessa's maiden name is Kelly. So is a bit of a lasting memory to our dad Edward. That's what we called our first lodge, Kelly's Lodge.
That's nice touch.
So that's a bit of the story behind Kelly's
that's
Lodges.
Lovely story too.
Yeah.
So I mean, 24 years in the forces, Hellspells, you must have been everywhere.
Yes, I've been all the nice places: Afghanistan, Iraq, Bosnia, Kosovo, Northern Ireland.
Right.
Been all over.
No, but I bet you'll have been to some nice. You'll have been to some nice ones as well. I mean, in between the conflicts.
We're lucky enough. I served in. Well, we posted in Cyprus for a couple of years. I've done actually two separate postings in Cyprus.
Right.
Which
one? Because there's one side that's Decalia.
Yes, that's where I was.
Decalia.
Yeah.
What's the name of the one on the other side? Because there's two, isn't there?
We've got Akatiri.
Akatiri, that's the one. Sorry.
Yeah. My youngest son was actually born in Cyprus.
Wow.
And Cyprus Hospital, and both the kids were conceived in Cyprus, but the youngest one was born there.
Lovely.
Had some good times and some bad times as well.
Sure, I bet. What was the worst situation you found yourself in? If you don't mind talking about it.
Yeah, no, not at all. There's unfortunately been a fair few. There's one memory that sticks out in my head. On patrol in Iraq, drove round the corner in my Land Rover. Drove on the corner. I was actually doing like what's called top cover on the top of the Land Rover, so looking out for any sort of threat and so on the top of the Land Rover. And we drove around the corner, and unfortunately straight into a bit of an ambush, getting fired at, and obviously we got out of that situation quite quickly. Where the driver done his job and whacked it straight in reverse and straight out of it. But yeah, it was a bit scary at the time. But
it's just I would imagine, and I know that the British Army gets amazing training and they're thorough and all the rest of it. Nothing prepares you for once you're actually in the middle of something like that, surely.
No, you'd be surprised. I mean, the old saying, you don't think at the time. Your training kicks in, and you don't think about it. To be honest, it's not until afterwards when you start thinking, "Oh my God,
What
that
could have
really has happened?"
Yeah.
But actually, at the time, you don't really think. You just, your training just kick in. And then when later on, and you sat back in the camp and you start thinking about it. But yeah,
heavyweight. And you see, these are the things. I actually am a big fan. I know a lot of people criticise, the way that the Americans, and you see TV shows and they'll say, it'll be a quiz and says, I was ex-forces, and they always say, thank you very much for your service.
Yeah.
And some people criticise that. I think that's a lovely thing. I was in some theme park once, and they said, if there's anybody there that's been in the forces, and in the audience about 24 people stood up and everybody applauded. And that kind of stuff never happens in Britain, and it should, because the kind of stuff you deal with on a daily basis for us is we don't appreciate what you do. All of you guys, whether it's Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, it's beyond the pale every time, and quite often it's dealing with all of the stuff that we don't want to deal with ourselves, and you're right in the middle of it. Now, I just think we should be a little bit more, and it's not often I say we should be more American, but in that regard, I do think we should be more appreciative.
Yeah, the Americans do love their forces, like whether it be in their own forces or other nations' forces. The Americans do love them.
Yeah, and I just don't understand why, because even the government that sends the troops out just seem to want to ignore them when they come home.
Yeah.
Well, they're looked after. I'm not going to get involved with that. Well, they should be batting for the forces every time. But
100%. Yeah.
Ignore the rights and wrongs of whether we should be there in the first place. That's other people's decisions. It's certainly not you guys.
Well, like I said, the government and the country sends with these places, and they need to look after when we come back.
That should be a given, but it's sadly not the case.
Yeah.
Anything else then, Tony?
Just obviously go back into the lodges. I can guarantee the majority of our listeners, or your listeners, are listening, scrolling through Facebook now. It'll take them 10 seconds to search on Facebook for Kelly's Holiday Lodges, like and share my page.
Okay, yes, send it about me. Got to look after our own. Thank you, Tony. Yeah. Good luck to you.
Thanks, mate. Thanks a lot.
No worries. Bye-bye. Hey, well, why not? 0191 488 3188. Where are we going next? Oh, hang on. It's Liz, and she's in Newcastle upon the Tyne. Hi, Liz.
Hello, Alan. You all right?
I'm good. Thank you for ringing in. What are you talking about
You've
today?
had some canny calls tonight.
I tell you.
Calls, haven't you?
Well, you're interesting, you lot.
Well, I've had to try and outdo that lot, won't I? Now, the guy who was getting his washing in, I think what he seen was the International Space Station.
Oh, Mia. Was it still Mia?
Because it was kind of due to go over around the time he was on about.
Ah, right. Gotcha.
So it's visible every night for the next coming week, because I love it. I'm out every night looking for it going over.
Are you one of these people with a telescope in your attic?
No, not at all.
But you can see them with the naked eye then, can you?
Certainly can. You see it, absolutely. Sometimes they go over really slow. They just glide over, but they're actually going at a terrific speed in reality.
Right.
In the 500 and odd miles up from Earth. It's amazing, isn't it, when you think about it?
Now, the reason that I've kind of got a fascination for all things space-related, except millionaires. Got no interest in them. But when I was working in a place called Swalwell, on the Swalwellian Riviera, we call it, when we were there, a guy said, on your way home tonight, if you drive along the bypass next to the Metro Centre, I'll be in the first lay-by.
All right.
Pull over. Now, face it, I didn't do an awful lot of meet me in the lay-by. I didn't do a lot of that. But the guy says, no, I've got a telescope, and like people who have any speciality, they always do the thing that it's a PC B4 37 gauge, and you kind of...
Foreign language.
Wow, what the hell is that? But anyway, I did pull in, and this guy says, look at that. And he showed me a black hole, he showed me the Milky Way, he showed me the rings of Saturn.
Amazing.
And I'm thinking, I'm in I'm outside the Metro Centre in a lay-by, and I can see all the... Mind you, the telescope was huge.
It's addictive, though, isn't it?
But it's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. The Milky Way fascinates me, and I can't get my little head around anything to do with the Milky Way because it's really complicated.
Yeah.
But to see it is the most beautiful sight. The first time I actually seen it properly was on Holy Island.
All right, yeah, where there's no light, no ambient light to spoil it for you.
Absolutely amazing, isn't it? And sat in the garden looking at that, and you just can't take your eyes off it. Absolutely. But it's worth people in it all. The ISS goes from west to east always.
Right.
So, if you've got a kind of general direction and you just see it floating over. But so the guy getting his washing in reminded me as well, I put this in the comments actually, about the time I had a terrible flood in one of my bedrooms, and the damage that a flood does is unbelievable actually.
What went wrong with burst pipe, or what was it?
What went wrong was the gale force winds had blown a sheet off the washing line up onto the roof, blocked the pipe.
Oh, wow, right.
Caused the flood. Now, try telling that to your insurance man. He wasn't going to believe it, was he? He was like, I have to come out and view the said sheet. Well, I could have just got a sheet from anywhere, couldn't I, really?
You could have just stuffed it in with a decent ladder.
It had
Why, yes.
peg attached to it.
Right.
It still had the peg on it. There you go, there's the culprit. And, I got the money. That was,
yeah, but
I paid for.
Kind of like you. Because I don't think I've ever contacted an insurance company about anything other than this. It was dripping through me ceiling, and there was a burst pipe under the floor upstairs under the bathroom.
All right.
And it had burst, and the pipe outside had something to do with it. Some downcomer or up, whatever it was. It was a problem, and it was pouring into the kitchen.
Yeah.
And the guy said, and I said, look, there's a plumber here. He's going to switch the water off. And the insurance guy says, oh, no, I have to see it leaking when I come out.
God.
And I'm saying, so when you're coming out? He says, I'll be there in about 4 hours. And I'm saying, so what, you want it to get 4 hours worse before you're going to come out? And the plumber said, no, I'm just going to switch it off.
Yeah.
And then he sees a hole in the ceiling. And, oh, are you sure that you couldn't have stopped this from happening?
Yeah, you see, that's the way he was with me. And it was like, well, there's the sheet with the peg still attached to it.
Yes, yeah, here's the bucket. We'll switch it back on if you're prepared to stand under it.
Crazy. No, I mean, I've not cleaned many times, but it's always looking, the aerial on the roof once, again, the wind, get the winds up here, blew the aerial completely off the roof. No television, Easter weekend, always remember that. And it came out and put a new, and it was covered, and I thought, well, because it's outside, it wouldn't be covered, but I got it, they paid every penny.
Oh, that's good, that's good.
So it's always worth checking. Now, going back to Jesmond,
yes.
I used to work when I first left school in Nazareth House when it was a children's home run by the Catholic nuns.
Yes, well, we've had dealings with Nazareth House, absolutely.
Well, I can tell you they weren't very nice. I can tell you that for a fact.
Everybody that I've spoken to that went into it, even one or two of the nuns that had to work under some of the other nasty nuns, they've spoken out against it. And, of course, there's been abuses and atrocities and all kinds of things linked to it.
Well, actually, I was in there as a child, which is a bit strange. I've been both sides of the coin, if you like.
Wow.
In there as a child, very cold-hearted, not very nice at all, hated, obviously. Went to work there.
Why were they so nasty to the kids? Because it wasn't the kids'
fault. I think
fault.
they were bitter because they didn't have a life, really. And do you know, they were never out of the chapel on their knees saying their prayers. And I look back now, I think, what a load of hypocrites you were, because I've seen how nasty you were.
Yeah, they're on their knees praying to do good things and then coming out.
5 o'clock in the morning. No, the strange thing is, well, not strange, I think it was probably planned. To get a job there, you had to be a Roman Catholic, which I am.
Yeah.
All the staff had to be Roman Catholics, and all the children had to be Roman Catholics from Roman Catholics. So you can see where I'm going with this, all this tight, closed, you can sort of see how it went on.
Shocking, though, isn't it?
Horrible. But one day I was taking the kids out, and, obviously, you know, the graveyards opposite.
Yes.
There's 2 graveyards, isn't there? Was it?
Yeah, massive as
Road.
well.
Yeah. And there was council work. Now, I'm going back about 1970. There was council workmen there, and they're putting up big tarpaulin sheets, you know, around the graveyard, and I had been nosy, asked them what was going on. And there had been grave robbers in.
Oh,
and that's not that, you know, when you think 1970, you think that's like, you know.
Yeah, you think that's Birkenhead, like 150 years
remember
earlier.
that.
Over there. Yeah.
And he said that when they buried in those graveyards, they buried them with their jewellery.
Yes.
So they had all their gold in it. Grave robbers had been in and had dug up graves, and horrible, isn't it? And they were there to put that right. I was like, God.
Awful thought.
Really?
And that was the reason why there's a Jewish cemetery directly behind and underground from the Time Theatre and Opera House. And that's why they built buildings on top of it, because so many people, because it was traditional for the Jewish people then to take stuff to their graves with them.
Now, there's only, if I remember rightly, that, because I love graveyards and it sounds a bit morbid, but they're fascinating places if you go to the right ones. I think the Glasgow one, have you ever been into that one?
I have. It's the necropolis, I think they call it. It's amazing.
It's the most, you can't describe it to anybody, you've got to be there.
We've done a ghost show from up there, not a televisual one, but a radio show, because there was a very famous story about the vampires of the necropolis. It came out at the time. Well, I'll have to dig it out sometime and share it with you. Anything else while we're on, Liz?
No, that was it. Just
fantastic.
I got little memories there I wanted to share with you, but
glad you did. Thank you.
I've got no sheets out tonight anyway. So
Good on you.
Enjoying your show and loving Thursday night. I'm in the supporters club there, so it's great. Just having a great time watching you every week.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being part of it. Cheers.
Take care, Alan.
Bye-bye. Oh, nice people. Liz there in Newcastle. Right. Time for another star to come out at night, and this time an appropriate song. We're going to play To the Moon and Back after we talk to Savage Garden's Darren Hayes. You know, you talked about how you frightened your record company by saying, I don't care about record sales. So instantly they're all leaping out of fourth-story windows. They would surely want you to say, get yourself a tabloid story, get a kiss and tell, get a bit of blah, blah, blah.
Well, they'd never say it to me. I think the one piece of respect that I've always been given is that they consider me to be an artist and a songwriter who has, very thankfully been commercially successful at points in my career. But I'm pretty much left alone. I think because I began my career as one half of a songwriting duo who were sort of a band second, really.
Right.
I think if I were famous or in any way synonymous with, I don't know, who I was dating or anything about my private life, then I'm sure that would be part of the package. But to be honest, I think Darren Hayes off the microphone is kind of boring.
No, you can't say that. One handful of dog poop, superstardom in the other. No, that's got something going for it. Oh, blimey. Scary. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Come in. Meet Jackie from the Golden Lion. She's the queen of all she surveys. This is Scott as well. And when Tony first came in to find out what was happening here at the Golden Lion, I'd seen some CCTV footage of swooping shapes around the back and hearing various stories. And Jackie at first said, "Oh, there's no ghosts here." Well, except for the little girl and the man who hanged himself in the, and you, whoa, hang on a second. How long have you been here now, Jack?
So we've only been here since April this year.
Oh, blimey, what a learning curve that
Oh
must have
yes,
been.
absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it's quite eventful. It is.
But you mentioned to me that when you first got here, there was like a bad feeling. There was an evil something kicking about.
That's right. It was an evil, heavy feeling that made you feel uncomfortable and unwelcome.
Just downstairs or in the whole building?
It was just mainly downstairs. Although there has been, obviously, there was quite a heavy feeling, wasn't there, upstairs as well, but the majority was downstairs.
Right. And then the more you did good things and got people in and you got the building alive again,
yes, yeah,
that darkness disappeared.
It did, yeah.
Maybe you just needed a bit of company, which
bit
is
of TLC, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, the fireplace here, tell me this story, because this was, heaven forbid, this was somebody that was doing your job.
Exactly, yeah.
So what exactly happened here? Because, I mean, first of all, I'm not sure you can actually see up it, but it goes along. It's a really round.
It is.
Large
You can stand.
chamber.
Yeah, you can stand up inside it, and then you can see right up to the top. So what we heard was that a landlord hundreds of years ago actually took his own life by hanging himself up from the chimney and committing suicide. So
that's heavy. You do need a plaque. You do need a plaque and a picture of that. I'm sorry, but you do, as far as I'm concerned. However, so we've got Hanged Man, we've got Dark Presence that has eased away, and it's surprising when people do good things, that actually happens.
Yeah,
I mean, for people that have got haunted houses, quite often they've changed something or they've made it different. You seem to just given this house a bit of love.
Yeah, that's
It's
all it
essentially what
needed.
you've done.
Yeah.
But Scott, can I bring you in a second? Because Scott was at the bar one day, and how old's your Ben? You got a young one?
Ben, 6.
6-year-old. And he looked over the top of the bar, and there was like a little girl's face, and you thought yours had gone rogue.
I thought my little boy had come down and looked up with me. When I looked round, the face went down the other side of the bar. Says, "Come on, Jake, it's time to go upstairs." So I went round the other side, and he wasn't there. I went to the pillow, looked round, wasn't there. So I went upstairs, and he was in bed fast asleep.
He's in bed. Yeah. My goodness. So there's a little girl, and you mentioned that you've had some.
Yeah, there's a phone of a lady.
Right.
So there's a lady that comes through from the back door, comes up here, and then goes up the stairs and turns to the left, where there used to be accommodations in the quarter of an old landlady that used to live here.
Right. How cool is it? I mean, it's cool, except presumably you're here all the time. Yeah. And do you ever get freaked by it?
At first, when we first moved in, we didn't sleep. We slept with one eye open. But the more good that we started to do to the pub, the more that it was acceptable, and it was a sort of nice feeling. So even if you're talking to yourself or you feel somebody's behind you or, near you, you just say, "All right, or how are we doing?" Or this is, yeah, we know you're there.
Sometimes you come out the back and certain point away, it's just like a stone cold.
Yeah. But the thing that a lot of people fail to realize is that what you're doing is exactly the right thing to do, because if there is something here, even whether it's the child of somebody that lived here, this place is designed to have a buzz and a fizz and lots of stuff happening. And when it's not, it's going to upset whatever's here. And then when you bring it back, happy days. Hey, well, thank you very much. The Golden Lion, Barnard Castle. Come in and see it. By then, they'll have a plaque up. Not a photograph, but maybe a depiction of just the feet hanging out of the. But that's just an amazing story. And how bad was business then if he did that? Teeth. Thank heavens we've had the Euros.
Yeah.
Happy days. But thanks to the pair of you for giving me the chance to have a chat.
Right.
So there we go. We've got an awful lot of this. Don't forget, every Thursday at 10 o'clock live, we got a lot more. And make sure that when you do come to Barnard Castle, when you come in for a drink or a bite to eat, make sure it's the Golden Lion. Lovely stuff. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Get ready with your torch. I'll point you in the right direction. If there's anything, they're trying to find something now. Yeah. Wait for it. It's being detected. Just going to find out where it is now. Oh, we're getting a message. What's the message? Oh, there it's over there again. Exactly the same place. Okay. Over there by the tree. Offering friendship on hard times. I'm at rest. Oh. How about that? That's good. That's amazing. That's amazing. She's at rest. She's definitely over there. I don't know whether that was still Emily, but because it was in the same area, you would think it must be. Right, come on. I think there's so many other places. We've got to go to the pillory where the witches were pilloried, but there's something that I want everybody to see. This is amazing.
A few people have said they've seen faces in the tree.
Really?
Cornwall are warning residents to make sure their homes are secure. Police have issued a picture of a suspect they want to trace in connection with an incident in the early hours of Sunday. Comedian Tom O'Connor has died at the age of 81. He presented many TV shows after breaking through on Opportunity Knocks, winning 3 times in a row. Colin Morikawa is a 2-time major golf champion at just 24 years of age after winning the Open at Royal St George's. The American hit a final round 66 where he didn't drop a shot despite a strong challenge from Jordan Spieth. He says he uses nerves on the big occasions to play better.
I'm glad I look calm because the nerves are definitely up there, but you channel these nerves into excitement, into energy, and that puts you away from like a fear factor into, this is something I want.
And Lewis Hamilton has cut Max Verstappen's lead in the F1 World Championship to 8 points after his controversial British Grand Prix win. The Mercedes man was given a 10-second penalty during the race for a first-lap collision with Verstappen that saw the Red Bull driver end up in a tyre barrier. From Sky News, I'm Andy Hayes.
Thanks, Andy. Alan Robson with you. Greatest Hits Radio Northeast. More stars coming out tonight to talk to you. And a couple of really massive names too, so get ready. They're coming at you. Meanwhile, we have Russ, who's in Washington. Hi, Russ.
Hi, Alan. My best friend. How are you doing, pal?
I'm doing well, thank you very much. What are you talking about tonight then, Russ?
Couple of things, Pete. Couple of things. 3 or 4, if that's okay.
Uh-huh.
First one, that brilliant word, COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want to put it out here. Why can't we have a simple guideline to go by that is 100% correct? I think that's the best terminology I can put that out like.
Yeah, you say that's 100% correct. No, people are guessing. 2 scientists can't even agree over this. So if the scientists can't agree, the politicians aren't going to agree either. So it leaves everybody, can we, can't we? I've got no idea. Well, let's just go along with it and see what happens. It's not exactly a great plan. Are you glad that the restrictions are going to be over, or are you going to continue to mask up and do your own thing?
I'm absolutely terrified.
Right.
I've had my 2 jabs, so I don't think I'll die COVID. That's what's being taken care of.
Right.
But my problem is later generations. How long is this thing going to last for?
Yeah.
They're quite happy to say, yeah, okay, cases are rising, but nobody is dying. That's not the problem. It's still here.
Well, I mean, we were told in February, it's gonna die down now. Most of the year's going to be ours, and then it was March, then it was April, then it was May. Now it's late July, and we're supposed to be freeing up, but we still can't go abroad, and the numbers are going up now and not going down. The question is, do we lock down forever? Do we get used to a new reality, which means we stay masked up forever? You've got to ask the question, because in some parts of the world, you know yourself that if you watch documentaries on China or Japan, there's people masking up when they're walking through their city centres. So could that be the future for the rest of us too?
Well, see, I mean, years gone by, I used to go to Thailand.
Yeah, no, you've said that.
Yeah, you remember, yes, well, the staff workers in chemists and cafes, they all wore masks. You know, it was a done thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was accepted obviously by customers. You know, it was a good thing. It was hygienic. I loved it, actually. It made you feel so relaxed.
Yeah.
But the next topic I'll go on to is the lovely people who have booked holidays and they're getting these massive not fines,
bills.
Prices that, they've got to pay. And I just don't understand. I can't wrap my head around it why they took the holiday in the first place.
Well, yeah, but I can kind of understand it, because a lot of people are waiting to see because like a traffic light system that the government have put on, and they said don't go to the red countries, be really careful with the amber countries, but the green countries you can go to. So the country, Britain, will say Portugal's open. So everybody goes, we can go to Portugal. So they all book Portugal, and then as soon as they get to Portugal, Britain say, we've changed our mind. If you don't come back within 3 days, you're going to have to quarantine. And then everybody goes, what? I can't afford to quarantine. I've only got a fortnight's holiday. So then everybody has to rush back early and lose half the value of whatever they've spent. It's not exactly fair, but I suppose that's the risk that people take if they're booking to go abroad, because the government advice on the Home Office site says, don't go anywhere, stay close to home, don't talk to people, keep your mouth. They're super thorough, and presumably that's what some travel companies are going to hide behind when they've got to pay money back.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of people who are in that situation.
A lot of faff.
And I feel so sorry for them, Alan. I feel so sorry for them.
Well, a lot of these people have been, we're talking National Health Service workers that have had a rough time, and they just want to get a week or a fortnight away from it all. And you cannot blame them.
Right.
Right.
I mean, I was lucky. I think I've already told you, last year, I booked up a week in the Lake District under a lovely cottage.
Great.
And obviously, COVID kicked in, so that was not on the head. But fortunately, when the first lockdown was relaxed, I got an email.
Right.
By the way, the cottage is available. So we were there 3 days later.
But you see, that's similar to the response of, Portugal's free. Boom. People are straight there thinking, well, it's okay now. And we're still a long way away from okay, I think. Okay will be the time when we can just get on with our lives without having to worry about anything. And I can't see that being just around the corner quite yet.
It's not like it's well a long way away.
Sad, but that may well be the case. Anything else then, Russ?
Your previous caller, a couple of more topics there. Tony,
yes,
who's got the lodges.
Yes.
My heart goes out to him because I know there's a couple of owners who have lodge properties, and they're finding it very tough, and they've got to up the prices.
Right.
And when you do that, people are going to turn away. So, Tony, if you're listening, Paul, my heart goes out to you, mate.
Right.
You have to do what you have to do. So, my best wishes goes out to you there, Tony. So, best luck to you, fella.
Okay, man.
Aye. Another topic, the F1, the deer, that race.
Yes.
I couldn't quite understand it. I'm not going to talk anything about the sprint because that's just diabolical to me. But the race itself, I think it proves 100% who the best racer on the planet is. Oh.
Right.
I mean, this. I don't want to. That sprint was ridiculous. I mean, what the hell has gone on there?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I'm not going to too much. But,
I know.
I mean, congratulations, Lewis Hamilton. You're a fantastic driver. He deserves everything that he's going to win, mate.
He does.
Okay. That's me bit now.
No worries. Thank you, Russ. Good to have you on.
I'll catch you next Sunday, Fashion Blade.
Look forward to it. There's Russ talking all things COVID, and he thinks we're miles away. Are we? Are we literally just on the cusp? Would it be lovely to think so? Anne's been on. Evening, Alan. I just need some advice. I always gave my dog ice cubes in his water dish on really hot days, but a vet on Facebook has said only give them tepid water. I've never heard of this. What's the crack then with respect to dogs and ice cubes? I've seen friends of mine give their dogs ice lollies. Not the ice creamy ones so much, but, you know, the icy ones. And the dog demolishes them. But dogs have a habit of demolishing anything you stick in front of their nose, pretty much. But tepid water in hot temperatures or icy cubes? What do you think? Where do you stand at Night Owls? Pick up your telephone, give us a call. Also, second clue for you. Now, remember, the thing that links all of the answers together is greatest hit related, okay? The first clue is, this is the colour that Crystal Gale's brown eyes turned, okay? This is the colour that Crystal Gale's brown eyes turned. Second clue, you may be young and you may be gifted, but are you this, okay? You may be young and you may be gifted, but are you this? Classic Bob and Marcia greatest hit. But what word's missing? You may be young, you may be gifted, but are you this? 2 clues down, 2 more clues to come, and you've got to work out the link. I can tell you that according to my spy next door, the Powerhouse and Digital are now opening, or now open, should I say. Pints are being served, and the tails are being waggled. Twerking has commenced. There you go. Let's crack on. We have Alison, who is in Anfield playing. Hello, Alison.
Hi, Alan. How are you doing?
I'm good. Good to hear from you. What you got for us then?
Well, just a few little things. One of the things was the noises that you mentioned on Facebook, and it was more noises that I love rather than that I hate.
That's terribly positive of you, right?
As always. The one thing that sends me to sleep is a hairdryer or a Hoover. Absolutely love the noise of a hairdryer or a Hoover.
Oh, a Hoover does the reverse for me. If anybody has a Hoover within 200 yards of where I'm sleeping, I'm up thinking, oh, they're coming in here. It's that kind of thing. Oh, no, I'm not.
It literally knocks me out.
Why a hairdryer, though? Or is it just you fall asleep with the heat?
White noise, isn't it?
White
noise?
noise, yeah.
It's the noise.
Right.
Just like if my hubby gets up early in the morning and he's got like his razor on, that's just like a constant noise, I'm out of it straight away.
Right.
Back to sleep.
Oh, there you go. There's a picture of somebody live from Digital Pictures just been shown. It's chocker full of women. There you go. So apologies for that, Alison. He's just knocked this up on the screen. I'm thinking, is Alison in a crowd? Which one's she?
Oh, no, I should be there.
Put your hands in the air. And everybody is, of course. So I mean, is it hairdryers and Hoovers?
Yes.
And his shaver, I didn't know whether you meant the shaver didn't do it or did do it.
No, like an electric shaver does as well.
All right,
that
okay.
noise, just like that constant din.
It's funny because
noise.
If I'm staying somewhere that has street noise, you know, people going up and down and going to pubs and stuff, if I'm in a city centre and I'm staying somewhere, I quite like that. And I can comfortably sleep with it. But if that was happening outside my window, I'd be old man whinging about it the whole night long. I know that's a fact. It's funny that.
Well,
isn't it?
one of the ones that I really don't like, when we had our horrible neighbours, they used to come in. We have like a shared drive, and they drive. It's a gravel drive,
Right.
And they used to screech in with their van,
Right.
And I hated that.
Yeah, yeah.
That really, really annoyed me.
Yeah, the place where I live, you can only get in and out the same way. You know, it's only it's like a cul-de-sac kind of thing.
Yeah, it is.
And the thing that I hate is the amount of vehicles that drive up it and then have to turn around in the cul-de-sac. But some of them have, like the bin lorries, have this thing where beep, beep, beep. But then you have talking where the talking goes, this vehicle is reversing. Beep, beep, beep. Like, okay. What they should say is, this noise, beep, 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 means this vehicle. Okay, right. So you get one of them. Granted, that's only once a week. Fair dues. But every other vehicle that is a delivery vehicle, and it seems everybody gets a delivery, whether it's Iceland or Tesco or, all the shops.
Yeah.
And then you've got your Amazon deliveries, and they all have those beep, beep, reversey things. And we're at the top of the cul-de-sac where the roundy bit is. Didn't expect that.
Awful.
Didn't expect that. It's not great.
And another one is like if there's somebody mentioned it before, like a house alarm or a car alarm.
Car alarm, so yeah.
If it's going off and I can't see which one it is, it drives me insane. I've had to get up in the middle of the night before and like look out the door and like think, is anybody flashing? Is any because it drives us nuts.
Have you ever done this? This is embarrassing, but it has happened to me. You ever been in your car and you hear an alarm going off and you're looking and you can't see, and you're in a car park and it's your alarm that's going off and you're going, hey, there's some nugget. He's not aware. He's left the window open or something. And it's your car. And then you go, oh.
We had that with the house. House alarm was going off, and inside you can't really hear a house alarm. And I'm swearing, thinking, house alarm's going off. And it wasn't until we went outside and looked up at the light and thought, oh, it's ours.
That is embarrassing. And all the neighbours are looking over thinking, well, I can see she's in.
No,
a light's on.
It's amazing how when an alarm goes off, they're completely useless. Because I think there's only me
that never goes to check. I know. I always do. I must admit, I always do if it's nearby to where I am. And yet, the times that my alarm's gone off, nobody comes knocking. Nobody. Yeah. I think you're quite right. Kind of a waste of time.
They are.
I just think
wasted time.
But the problem is, with money being thin on the ground, the first thing to go, of course, is insurance. So you're teetering on the brink. Do I put an alarm in? Do I get insurance? Because to pay for both, you've got to be fairly well to do these days to carry that on.
Exactly.
It is difficult though. Difficult.
Yeah.
Just shows you how inept we are. We can't even use the things that we put into our own homes and vehicles properly.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
And one of the other things, it was me that sent you the email about the swimming.
Yes, I presumed it was you. The first thing that came to my head was a woman that gave us, ultimately, one of my greatest and proudest moments on radio, because I regressed her to a previous life. She said that she takes her son and daughter swimming, but she can't swim herself, and it's embarrassing. And the one thing she wants to do more than anything is swim, but she can't, and she's tried, and she panics, and she can't even put her head under the surface of the water. It's really terrible. And I regressed the woman back, nice lady, regressed her back to a previous life where she had not been a witch. Don't think that she was. But in a previous life, she'd been charged with being a witch because she lived in a house in the middle of the woods. And they took her to the river and they drowned her in a previous life. And you hear her die in regression, and that regression and her screaming in it's proper terror. I mean, you can't fake the noises that she made. And yet, at the end of the regression, you're in a place in her head. You're not hypnotizing her because she's still aware. She was still awake, but she's opened her mind to suggestion. So I was able to say, so now you know why you have difficulty swimming, but there's nothing there that's going to harm you. And now that you know the reason why you haven't been able to swim, well, you'll be able to swim. And next time you go in the water, you'll be able to put your head under the water and you'll be able to. And she went and she was swimming within 3 days. And she realized what happened in a previous existence doesn't have to hold you back in this existence. So the first thing I thought was, I've got to regress Alison and see
I would
what
be
that
up
was.
for that in a heartbeat.
Well, I mean, I want to start doing all it. It's the COVID thing is still, sadly, holding back a lot of stuff that we want to do. But once we get free of it, I've got no reason why not.
Oh, that would be amazing, because it's really weird with the water thing, because I am drawn to water. I love, like, these last few weeks, I've been going down to Roker to see if we can catch the dolphins.
Yeah, lovely beach as well.
And I was paddling in the sea the other night, and I just was like, I watch other people, and I'm like, I want to get in. I want to go in the water, but there is something stops me. I got to my ankles.
Well, I made the mistake yesterday, and I don't know why, but there was some program on, kind of 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, not on one of the satellite stations, on one of the free viewies. It was Killer Swarms, it was called. And there was this woman who wanted to swim from Cuba to Florida. It's 100 miles.
Right.
And she'd practiced, and she was strong, and she was ready to go. And she got in the water, and she got bitten by box jellyfish, which apparently are really tiny. But at night time, they come to the surface to see the moon. They didn't explain.
Right.
They didn't explain why. They must all have telescopes. And so, and she got really badly stung to the degree that she could have died, like anaphylactic shock kind of thing. My only worry about the sea is the sea that's so far down you can't see it. You know, the dark bit. I don't like that at all. I'm not frightened of the sea. I can't swim, but I'll go out in the sea up to my neck and bob about, and everybody on the beach thinks he's swimming in, but I'm on one leg with the other leg behind me, making it look like I'm swimming. I'm not actually swimming.
Classic.
That's embarrassing. Everybody will know now. He's just mocking that up.
Be like, there's Alan.
Because it doesn't really ever look like I'm proper swimming. But no, I'm not scared of it.
Video footage of this.
Oh, no, please, not that. I just remembered the thing about the whole swimmy thing. I remember the incident, and it's not a proud one, but genuinely, the incident that stopped me swimming was almost drowning.
Right.
And I'm not going to go in too fine a detail, but I think you and I know each other well enough over the years to be able to brush past just some of the basic details.
Yeah.
The school that I was at was in two halves. And the middle bit was where the management was of both schools. And then, kind of like lungs, the left lung was the boys' school, the right lung was the girls' school. And we shared a swimming pool.
Right.
Now, when the girls were swimming and there was a keyhole, we were all at the keyhole because we were all 13, 14, 15. Puberty was exploding upon us. And women, it was a desperate time, I have to say, desperate, because you had to have got to have a girlfriend. And occasionally we had crossovers where we would go and we'd get into our swimmy suits, and then we'd go into the baths, but we couldn't get in the water because the girls were still there, and then they had to come out and go and get changed, and we went in the water. Well, it was the other way around. We were in the pool, and the girls walked in. And I was messing about because, being a non-swimmer, traditionally I'm in the shallow end with a bit of polystyrene, which is with me leg at the back. And okay, you saw where it came from. Fair dues. But this time, one of me mates had climbed up on the top board and was just messing about. And he eventually leapt off backwards, probably doing a Tom Daly triple somewhere, or whatever, because he can swim.
Yeah.
And it was no big issue. And I was up there, and the girls walked in, and I became hypnotized and almost traumatized because there was movement in my swimsuit.
Oh, no.
And this is movement that you can't do anything. You certainly can't physically move it with your hands while you're where you are. And there's 30 girls in swimsuits just walked in. So I did what any gentleman would do under the circumstances, not wishing to put the women through having to gaze at such an atrocity. I jumped off the top board into the deep end and almost died. And the guy who was our teacher at the time was a guy called Dixon, Mr. Dixon. And he saw that and he thought, oh, I wish these kids wouldn't keep messing around. Well, I wasn't messing around. I was actually on the bottom drowning. And one of my mates had to come in, pull us up to the surface, and I did need a bit of help, which also doesn't look particularly sexy to women. Mind you, my other problem had been cured by the time I came back up again. And ever since then, it was polystyrene float. I'm not going anywhere where it was deep. And it kind of held me back, and I couldn't swim. And I think that was the root of it, maybe. It wasn't a previous life in my case. It was adverse and abject stupidity.
Well, what we need now is we need a night owl class. Swimming class.
Swimming class,
we'll
just
all go together.
Yeah, and I'll bring the polystyrene. Because whose idea was the polystyrene? Because I think that holds you back. If you're learning how to swim, don't. Because you see, now when I go on holiday, if I'm, I can't even remember the last time I did, but whenever we're lucky enough to get to a hot place with a pool, I get those things called, what are they called? They're long bits of
Oh, yeah, like...
noodles. They're called
that's it, yeah.
noodles. I get a couple of noodles, I get in a swimming pool, and I bob. I just wrap them around me, and I bob. And I love bobbing. I don't care about swimming, genuinely. I don't really need to swim. But as long as I've got a noodle, I'll bob. And I just float, bob, and burn. That's pretty much what ginger people do in the sun.
Well, Rob's been getting all these sailboards and everything because he's a sailor and does all these. He loves water and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he keeps saying to me, he says, "Just put a wetsuit on and a life jacket on, you'll be fine. You'll not drown."
Yeah.
And he wants to take me out into the middle of the sea.
Has he just upped the insurance? Has he?
Maybe. Like you said, I'm not doing it. This is why I've decided I've got to learn to swim.
I don't believe this put a wetsuit thing on because, and again, most night, because I have admitted to doing the most British thing I've ever done in my life. There was I was in one of the themey parks, and they had a lazy river where you sit in a rubber ring, and you just float around this lazy river. Very nice, and they've got a fast rapidsy thing where you put on a wetsuit, it's like a little jacket, but it's all puffed up, and it's supposed to be able to keep everybody floating whether you can swim or not. And I thought, wanting to impress my lady love, I thought I'll do that. I can't drown, can you? But you see, I've got a thing about my head. I have a huge head. I have an abnormally large head in my head. I mean,
I was going to say,
it may well be that everybody else thinks, well, it's not that big. It's full of cleverness. That's the problem. It's full of, not so much cleverness, tat and trivia, but it's got a lot of room for it. And I always feel that when I'm wearing one of those wetsuits, I'm going to tip over because I'm heavy at the top and not so heavy down the bottom, and it'll just be two legs sticking up, and my head will be. And I do genuinely feel, balance-wise, that I'm going to go in. So I got into this rapid thing, and I was going down there with my wife and bobbing away, and she's a good swimmer. So off we go, and I'm trying not to be a dork. And then I got into a whirlpooly bit where I genuinely believed I was going to tip over and drown. And I'm surrounded by Americans who could, they're world-class swimmers all around. The large and small, they're really good at swimming. And I'm bobbing and I'm panicking. But instead of panicking, because I'm British, I can't panic.
No.
So I
put on a brave face.
Excuse me, terribly polite. Excuse me, everyone. I do believe that I'm going to drown. Would somebody be kind enough to help me to the side, please? Now, while this is happening, my arms are flailing, but that was what came out my mouth. So everybody kind of went, "Hey, these lamies have got a good sense of humour." Yeah. And I go, "No, what I said is true. I really am in distress. Could somebody..." And I had to do that once is embarrassing, but I did 3 times, and then some big American arm just grabbed me and literally sat me on the side, this huge American fella that I was very grateful to. But so perhaps deep down I need to swim. Somebody said, Anne sent in a thing about the swimmy thing. Why not teach your kids yourself? I taught my kids and my grandkids, you just put fully inflated armbands until they get used to being in the pool, then gradually let a tiny bit of air out every time you take them in. It worked with mine. Oh, that's clever, mine. And I can remember that Chris and Tony put you in a Scottish loch. I think it was Loch Ness, and I was yelling, "Get him out!" Yeah. They put me in one of them balls as well. You know those big inflated balls that just means you roll around on your backside looking stupid, and of course that happened too.
How do you breathe in one of them?
Well, there's a lot of air in it. There's enough air to last about a good 20, 30 minutes, but you can't. It's impossible. You see people that have. I think the people who invented the ball. You see the people who invented it walk across a lake, and you think that's amazing. Everybody else just rolls around looking like a pudding in a plastic ball. That's what everybody else does.
It's good entertainment.
Well, I suppose so, but I would just want somebody to come forward who is a swimming instructor in Stanley Concert or Birdley or Surrounds or anywhere near to that, who can just come and take you in there and show you the wonders.
And they can click their fingers and I'll be able to swim.
That would be a good thing.
Oh, that might be the regression that you do, Alan.
Well, you never know. We will
You
certainly...
never know.
I'm open for it if you're game, so no worries.
I am definitely. As soon as we're allowed to,
We're there.
I'll be there.
Good lass. Okay. Thank you for calling. Good to have you on.
soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So there's Alison and Field playing. And is there any swimming instructors out there willing to take on such a pupil? 0191 488 3188. And Brian is next. He's in Concert. Hello, Brian.
Hi, Alan. How are you doing?
I'm good, mate. What are you talking about tonight?
Well, first of all, with your last call, you were talking about your head being inflated full of stuff. You started me on the road of useless information, the Encyclopedia Robsonica.
Oh, blimey, that's
so
a few.
what's in your head.
I know. Hey, how tragic is that? But thank you very much for taking on board a little bit of it anyway.
Yeah, I got right into it. I still am. I love useless information.
Brilliant.
I've got a head full of it.
I know. It's the best part. Because all of the political hab-nabs we can cope without. It's the juicy bits of useless information that's far more important.
That's exactly right. What I want to talk about tonight, Alan, is I've got a rescue dog, and he's very naughty, so I walk him very late at night.
Right.
Just because there's other people walking their dogs, and I don't want to be anywhere near them.
Right.
Even though he's on the leader and on a muzzle, other people let their dogs run around like as if it's all right, my dog's friendly. It's like, no, my dog's not. And when I'm walking really late at night, and there's a couple of times I've seen a man stand outside of Ebchester Post Office.
Right.
Which is, the dog lives at my mother's house in Ebchester, not Ebchester Post Office, Hamsterley Post Office.
Hamsterley,
Colliery.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a man stands outside the post office. Now, I've only seen him twice. And I only ever see him from like 200 yards away, and he looks about 6 foot tall, and he looks to be dressed like a French Foreign Legionnaire to me. At that distance, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm like, well, that's interesting. And every time I get anywhere near him, he's kind of disappeared.
You're not thinking somebody bow jesting?
No, it's a ghost.
Right, a ghost, right.
Oh, it's a definite ghost, yeah.
Right.
Because I keep my eyes on him all the time. Once I see him, I don't let my eyes go.
Gotcha.
And like, when I get anywhere near, he's gone. But anyway, the other night, my
odd
wife...
place for a Foreign Legionnaire, though, outside Hamsterley Post Office.
Yes, I would agree with that, definitely. But the other night, my wife decided to walk the dog with us.
Hello, love.
She was walking with us, and on the way back, which is I only ever see him on the way back. On the way back, the dog stopped dead. I remember he's a dangerous dog, and telling him to do something is like, well, good luck.
Yeah.
and he stopped dead, and he didn't want to move, and he's looking at the very spot where the bloke stands.
Right.
And I'm like, can you see him? To the dog. And he's looking and looking. And then all of a sudden, without this command, I give him a command to cross the road and not cross the road normally without the command.
Right.
And he just started crossing the road to where this bloke was standing. And he's looking right where he's looking him up and down where he was standing. Wow. And then my wife pipes up and she says, well, I can see him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hold on a minute. I couldn't see him. Right. That night, I couldn't see him. But them two could see him. So I said to my wife, I said, well, describe him. About 6 foot tall, and she described him as wearing a dark suit with a top hat, which kind of describes a friend. You know, that's what they wore, dark suit, and they wore them big silly high hats.
Yeah.
So, talking with a friend, he thinks it might be a pit manager.
That's possible.
You know,
Yeah.
You know, the post office house is a much bigger house than the rest of the street, which that might be the pit manager's house.
Who knows? Fascinating, though. I mean, have you mentioned this to other people that live there? Have they seen them?
No, I haven't told them about it, so if they're listeners, they've just found out.
All right. Everybody be going out late to Hamsterley now, checking the post office there. Oh, what's that? What's that? Yes,
she wants to tell you she's into the paranormal.
Oh, go on then, we'll put her on.
Hello.
Hello, Alan.
Hello, love. Yeah, so what about the paranormal then? You're into it?
Hello, my name's Angela.
Hello, Angela.
Yeah, I'm really into the paranormal, Alan. I believe that there is something or somebody like out there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I like watching paranormal activity and that on the TV live.
Right. Uh-huh.
And I would love to go and do a ghost hunt or.
Well, we did a ghost hunt in Newcastle Castle, didn't we?
Newcastle Castle, yeah.
And she got pushed over by a ghost.
Yeah. We went down into the castle keep, and we were all in a circle, like a group holding hands.
Uh-huh.
And we were told to close our eyes and just concentrate. And then all of a sudden, I felt this massive urge of somebody standing behind me and pushed me over.
Wow. Surprised you're still interested. I thought that would have put you off, but it's made you hungry for more.
No, I'm not scared of anything, Alan.
Right.
Believe you me, I'm not.
That's good. Good to be. So, yeah, you're just keen for more. You want to go on more ghost hunts and check out more things.
Oh, definitely.
Well, we're hoping to be doing them soon, so fingers crossed once COVID allows, that's the thing.
Yeah, that's right.
But good to hear. Thank you very much, both of you, for coming on, though. Nice talking to you.
Right.
Before you go, Alan.
Uh-huh.
I want to talk about dowsing.
Yes.
Right. Well, I've done dowsing for years, and I'm pretty much self-taught.
Right.
I was taught to dowse with the dowsing rods.
Uh-huh.
And
yes.
I've never really read a book. I've got all the books on dowsing, and I've never read them yet.
Right.
But I've done a lot of dowsing.
Mm-hmm.
If you Google my name, you'll find us on Google with a sat nav.
He's a geek
and the dowsing pendulum.
Right. Uh-huh.
Yeah. But what I was wanting to know is if anybody is interested. See, I've always wanted when people are going metal tanking.
Mm-hmm.
If they say they're going in a certain field, and I've told people where to go, and they found stuff there where I've said.
Right. Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you want to find out if there's more people interested in dowsing?
Yeah, aye.
Okay, well, we'll see. If we get anybody, we'll hook you up, Bri. That's not a problem. Thank you very much, Perry. Good talking to you. Thanks again. Cheers, Angela, as well. They're Brian and Ange. And ghostly hobnobs being pushed over. Let's have another star coming out at night. And this time, we go for one of the Spice Girls. And this time, it's Melanie C. From the outside of it, it looks like they're just having a mad time with their pals. Yeah. That's what it looked like.
Well, to be fair, we were. You know, I wouldn't swap places. Definitely, it was incredible. I mean, what an experience.
Spice Girls are coming to an end. The newspapers were absolutely... they didn't write about politics. From the beginning of the Spice Girls till the ended, pretty much. Anything you did, front page news. Were you, in a way, kind of glad to get away from that afterwards so that things could just calm down in your life a little bit?
Yeah, it was an interesting time because it was almost like having to integrate yourself back into society. You know, it was so weird. We'd been in this bubble and been so protected, although, you know, being attacked in the media quite a lot. And when things quietened down, it was a big relief. I mean, I think I got away lightly, really, because, you know, there were other members of the band who were much more outspoken and much more written about. But nevertheless, it's still quite hard to read things about yourself, people's opinions, which I suppose we all do on social media these days, and lies. You know, and then be criticised about things about yourself which aren't even true, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, which still goes on.
That does. Anytime you raise your head above the parapet, as they say. But with respect to you, I would have thought, being in a band where everybody wanted you to fulfil that particular role in the band, the freedom for you to say, well, who the hell am I really now? And especially, what am I going to make of myself now as well? Would be exciting, but a bit intimidating.
Yeah, it's definitely weird because, you know, I think there's quite a lot of misconceptions about the Spice Girls, and, you know, people think, oh, you know, manufactured bands. And weirdly, we were like a marketing man's dream because we were those people, you know. I was and am the sporty one, you know, and Victoria's definitely the poshest. Yeah. She's very posh these days. But yeah, you know, it wasn't something that was put upon us or, you know, it happened quite naturally, and we wanted to be different. We'd looked up to so many girl bands, but, you know, quite often they all dressed the same, and, you know, they didn't really have that many different characters, and we were so different. We were happy to kind of celebrate that.
You were a living cartoon, though, weren't you?
Yeah.
I mean, the music was fabulous, and I don't think people realise how good it was until you hear it like 5 or 10 years later.
Yeah.
And you go, do you know, they might have slagged some of this off at the time,
Yeah.
but everybody wants to dance to it, everybody wants to hear it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of everlasting what you've left us.
Yeah, I hope so, and I think so. You know, so incredibly proud of everything that we did, and that's the thing, you know, at the end of the day, not everybody's cup of tea, but we're really proud of the music, and for everything else that went on the outside, we had some really great songs.
Absolutely did.
Sorry, Kenny. Breaking your beam there, man. You can imagine somebody making their home out of something like that, man. Just something natural. Fresh water right at the bottom, down here. Wow. Come on, Abigail.
Worrying mad, isn't it?
I know. Oh! That was hard as... How did you... That was...
What happened there?
Well, when I touched it, I couldn't move it. But it's moving now. And it looks like it's... Was that you, Abigail? That was scary.
Seriously, look at that there. That's ready to fall, that.
Don't leave it, leave it,
my God,
leave it, leave it, leave it.
The hell?
But when I touched that, I couldn't move it at all. You can move it now.
That's ready to fall, that, mate.
Well, just don't touch Abigail's tree, leave it. Right, now up here, I don't know whether you can see. Step out, Tony, if you can.
Yeah, I'm going to go round this.
Wow. Don't fall. Kenny, I need you to light up the... Where's the... Oh, there you go. Hang on. Wait for Tony. Yeah, no. Right. That was just like a gunshot.
Wasn't it? It's cracked.
Stupid. Right, we've got so many things to show you. We haven't got time in the first hour. Obviously, that's just why we love you. First of all, share. Share this. Win yourself one of our lovely Night Owl badges for you to be proud to wear.
We'll announce it on Sunday, the winner.
The winner will be announced on Sunday. But come over here, Tony. Can you see in the distance? Can you light it up? You see that?
It's a dot on the screen.
It's a dot. That's a pillory where they used to place witches, and they even put their dead bodies in there. But we're going to use the necromancer next here, because this is where the death pit of the highwaymen were. 9 highwaymen were hanged, one after another. As soon as they were dead, their bodies, whether they were still alive or not, were put in a huge pit. You got to watch the ground here, because it really is. And to be honest, it makes you, it wears you out, because, oh, it wears you out. This is the gibbet. And did you hear that?
Just here. Just here.
It was like back. Did you hear that?
Just here.
But I'm just heading towards the... Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. This is a newly built gibbet, very close to where the original border gibbet was. And if you look for a rise, it says a rise to the west, which is in that direction. If you come around the front, Tony, you might be able to see the highwayman's smile. Yeah, there he is. Do you need us to light him up?
Maybe a bit too much light on there. Yeah, you can see him like that.
He's moving. It said if you look to the land, you'll see a mound to the west. That's a mound as far as I'm concerned. Do you see it? Would you say that's the mound? Yeah, where the bodies of 8 men, 8 highwaymen.
Like the cornfields, isn't it?
But you don't know where there's a body. There's also just down, well, there's where the dwarfs have been tipping over trees again. We've got to watch for the dwarfs. If they really lived here, we might be seeing some of them tonight too. It's fascinating. Now, I've got an incredible story about a highwayman. I'm going to tell that in a second. And to be able to do it right next to where people were actually hanged, and witches hanged here too. We've got an amazing story about how the Duke of Northumberland was shot at, and one of his people, one of his women that worked for him, raped here. We have the story of Billy Fuchs. We have the story of Raymond Gibbs, famous highwaymen who lost their lives here and hereabout. But we're coming to the end of our first hour. And what a first hour it's been. Oh, you see its eyes. Do you remember that film where the sheep went crazy and ate everybody?
Oh, God.
Because the eyes are electric, aren't they?
Could happen tonight.
But we've had howls and all kinds of... We're just getting started. We're going to go and check on our traps too. We have so many. We're going to go to the pillory too. I'm going to have a listen. We're going to use all of our gadgetry here too. We would love you to stay with us. How do they do that, Tony?
If you're on Facebook and you're not a supporter, you can just become a supporter. Just hit become a supporter in the top of the page, or I think it's going to be put in chat as well. And then in 5 minutes' time, the live stream will start again. If you're on YouTube, it'll be on tonight, probably after a few hours after this finishes, definitely in the morning. So, you'll have it. You'll have everything that Facebook have, but just a little bit later.
And we've also recorded a few extra bits earlier on that we're going to be putting out over the next
coming out.
Night vision as well. We haven't even touched night vision yet. We want to do the old Moor house. We'll be doing around here, and we'll certainly be doing this. Kenny, just what is that?
Is it a bat? Yeah.
Look, can you see it? Kenny, you got a great eye. Keep on it.
I can see it on
Superstar about one of his best friends, Michael Jackson. Very, very soon indeed. However, let's get some calls in. We're 2 clues down. A third clue's coming in the next 10 minutes or so. And then 20 minutes after that, you get your 4th clue so you can have a guess. But let us head across to Jackie, who's in Sunderland. Hello, Jackie.
Hello, Alan.
Hello there. Morning to you. What can we do for you?
Right, let's just say for starters, I've listened to you for years and years.
Thank you.
And you're a great presenter. You do your job well. You're very understanding and things. So I'll say that for starters.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Right, Alan, what it is about this COVID, right, you know, like things are changing as from tomorrow. Restrictions being lifted and whatnot and the other.
Yep.
Right, well, which I disagree with that.
Okay.
Right, what it is, Alan, my mum, she's in hospital at the minute. She's been admitted numerous times. Anyway, she was admitted 3 weeks ago. Anyway, because she's got like kidney failure and whatnot. Right. So she was admitted, as I say, 3 weeks ago. Then anyway, it was last Saturday. She was like, you know, she could have been like discharged. But anyway, I got a phone call off the nurse from the hospital. I don't want to mention any hospital. Okay. If you don't want us to,
Sure,
I would if you wanted to.
No,
but
you're right. Go for it.
Right. So anyway, I got the phone call off the sister on the ward saying somebody had been rushed in during the night as an emergency with suspected COVID.
Right.
Anyway, I mean, my mum's nearly 80-year-old. As I say, she suffers with kidney failure and things like that. Yeah. So anyway, what they'd done, my mum was on the ward, right, with 6 beds on the ward, and when this patient had been admitted in emergency during the night, they put this lady on a ward instead of, now what, I mean, any nurse or doctor, what you would have thought they would have done is put her on a side ward. Anyway, I got a phone call from the sister because my mum was due to be discharged that year. Yeah. Anyway, they put her on the ward, so they tested her, it came back positive. So then my mum, as I say, she's nearly 80-year-old, so I said, so what happens there with my mum now? Anyway, the sister said, she can come back with you as long as she isolates for 14 days, but I would also have to isolate with my mum.
Oh,
with me bringing my mum back to my home because our mobility's she's not stable or anything. Right? So anyway, I got my mum home on the Saturday, but my mum, they done the test with my mum. It came back negative. They done 2 tests before they discharged my mum. So that was on the Saturday. I got my mum with me on the Saturday. She was readmitted first thing on the Monday. I had to get the district nurses out and everything. She's since gone back in on the Monday with more kidney infections and this, that and the other. And Alan, what I'm saying is I disagree with these, restrictions. I think it's too early for everything to be lifted and this, that and the other. I know my mum's tested negative, but my mum, as I say, she's been since admitted again. I've had to isolate for 14 days. Even though I've been tested, I've had 2 jabs. And I think it's far too early for these restrictions to be lifted again.
Did you think, though, Jackie, that when you had the 2 jabs, that was you done so you'd be freer to get out and about?
Well, not really, Alan, because I've since heard on the news, even though you've been double jabbed, you're still at high risk.
Well, I've heard that too, and that flies in the face of everything that we were told prior to... Because the idea was, well, if everybody's jabbed, then we can't spread it because we've all been jabbed. Happy days. But that's obviously not the truth.
It's not. But my mum, obviously, we're having kidney failure and things.
Can't take a risk.
And she's going to be very prone as to, as to what's going on. But as I say, she's very fragile. She's very weak. I mean, they wanted to take a kidney out of my mum yesterday because one's completely finished. The other one is not working as what it should be because they can take one kidney, and you can live with one, Alan.
If it works.
Because one, yes, but she's very too fragile and 2 weeks, to go under anaesthetic. And I thought, and you know what? She's in the side ward. They're restricted for visits. So I'm not allowed to. And my mum is very just distraught. She's very distressed.
I bet she is. I bet she is. What a shame. What a damn shame.
You know, so what I'm saying is tomorrow I've got to wait for a review from the consultant and the urology as to what they're going to do with my mum. They've stopped the antibiotics and everything because there's nothing changing. So, as I say, I've got to wait for this review tomorrow to see whether they're going to either discharge my mum and let her come home and let her spend the rest of how long she's got left, because the sister rang me the other day again, and it's terrible, it's heartbreaking. What wishes does my mum want? Alan, I've never spoken about this to my mum. They've asked me, what wishes does my mum want? Would my mum need resuscitating?
Wow, yeah.
You know, and
so you're going to have that conversation with her as well, which is, oh, by the way, Mum, you're going to die, so let me just run this past you. What do you say under those circumstances?
But Alan, what I'm saying, with this carry on with this COVID, that's it's getting on my nerves. It'd be getting on everybody's nerves.
I'm sure.
But at the end of the day, if my mum, if they want to cut everything, all ties, I am not leaving my mum in that hospital. I'd rather, whatever days, length of time she's got left, I want it in my home rather than lying in a side ward.
On her own, without anybody able to say. No, I agree.
With no family, I'd rather bring her home, give her a little bit comfort for the time she's got left, because I cannot go up there, which, you know, everything's restricted. I'm not allowed to visit her. So I'd rather, if they said, there's nothing else we can do for her, I'd rather bring my mother back with me and let my mother pass away in my home and give her comfort and have the family around her where, you know, people can come and go.
Sure. I think you're exactly right, Jack. I don't, no argument with that at all. Good luck to you. I hope you manage to be able to do it. What a damn shame. Thank you for calling, Jack.
It's just this restrictions. I think it's far too early.
Right. Gotcha. Thank you for calling, and love to you and your mum. Thank
Alan.
you. Bye-bye. Oh, wow. How awful. I wish there was something you could do for all of that. And it's exacerbated by the rules and restrictions that on someone who's in a mum's situation, the restrictions don't matter anymore. The road ahead for her is set. So nothing else should matter but her, you would think. Not quite the case. Right. I think we shall have a little chat, then a piece of music immediately after this.
Social distancing rules are being lifted, nightclubs are reopening, and festival organisers are welcoming the return of live music. The Prime Minister insists now is the right time to ease restrictions.
If we don't do it now, then we'll be opening up in the autumn, the winter months, when the virus has the advantage of the cold weather. We lose the precious fire break that we get with the school holidays. If we don't do it now, we've got to ask ourselves, when will we ever do it? So this is the right moment.
But with infections rising, some scientists are condemning the lifting of restrictions. Professor Christina Pagel from University College London is worried about the potential for a new variant to emerge.
Because of our position as a global travel hub, any variant that becomes dominant in the UK will likely spread to the rest of the world. We saw it with Alpha. I'm absolutely sure that we contributed to the rise of Delta in Europe and North America. So the UK policy doesn't just affect us, it affects everybody.
Elsewhere across the UK, some measures remain in place for the next few weeks. The whole of Scotland will be moving to level 0, meaning masks will still be mandatory in public areas, but up to 8 people can meet indoors. Northern Ireland is set to ease the rules next Monday, while Wales will be aiming to lift the majority of its restrictions next month. In golf, American Colin Morikawa is now a 2-time major champion at the age of 24 after winning the Open at Royal St George's. He won by 2 shots from Jordan Spieth on his tournament debut. And Lewis Hamilton has cut Max Verstappen's lead in the F1 World Championship to 8 points after his controversial British Grand Prix win. The Mercedes man was given a 10-second penalty during the race for a first-lap collision with Verstappen that saw the Red Bull driver end up in a tyre barrier. From Sky News, I'm Andy Hayes.
Thanks, Andy. Alan Robson with you. Greatest Hits Radio Northeast. Thank you for your company. Thanks for joining us. OK, let us crack on. Time for your third clue. Now, remember, the thing that links all of the answers together, greatest hits. Greatest hit link. What is the link? The first clue, this is the colour of Crystal Gale's... Let's start that again. This is the colour that Crystal Gale's brown eyes turned into, okay? Second clue, you may be young and gifted, but are you this? Third clue, something you don't have to pay for is what? Okay? Something you don't have to pay for is what? You have 3 clues now. And a fourth clue coming in about 18 to 20 minutes. So get ready for it. 3 clues down. What links those words together? There's one word that links all 4 words together. You got to find out what it is. Okay? One more clue to come. Let us go to Salisbury, shall we? We've got John there. Hello, John.
Hello.
Hello there. What can we do for you tonight?
Hi. I'm called up to talk about the coronavirus restrictions.
Okay.
Freedom Day.
Yeah. What do you think?
I am over the moon. I'm very excited for it. I think this is what the world needs. We need a bit of normality after such a difficult year.
We just had the news on there saying, oh, but if we open up now, the virus is going to run amok again, and later in the year we might have to go back to locking down. Or do you think this is the beginning of total freedom again? Where do you stand on all of this then?
Well, what I think is the vaccine rollout has been absolutely incredible. It has made death and hospitalisation so low compared to what they were this time last year. Mm-hmm. So I think the vaccine has been absolutely incredible, and I'm ready to go back to a normal life with my friends and family and all the other nightclubbers like myself.
Now, we mentioned earlier that nightclubs in the north, we've even seen pictures on our Facebook and YouTube feeds of some of the nightclubs opening. They're full of people dancing about and having a thoroughly nice time. Is that going to be you over the next week?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm gutted I'm not there tonight. I've booked to go out tomorrow, Friday and Saturday. It's going to be a heavy week.
It certainly sounds like it. Do you have any worries at all about this? Or do you believe that... I mean, first of all, have you been jucked? Have you been injected?
Yeah, I'm double vaccinated, but I also have had COVID. But with the help of the vaccine, I had no symptoms. And so I'm actually ready to go out and just enjoy myself.
Do you think that everybody... I mean, do you think this is a generational thing? Do you think it's just older people that are super worried? Because looking at the people in the clubs, they're just getting down and making shapes like it never happened. I mean, do you think it's just older people that have this additional worry? Because I suppose they're the ones that's in the sight of the of the virus, aren't they, rather than the younger crowd?
Yeah, I definitely think a lot of the older generation are worried. Obviously, with what you see on the media, if I was older myself, I probably would be a little bit more concerned. But with the help of the vaccine rollout, like I say, which
Right.
has been one of the best things since sliced bread, it has just helped people so much to be able to get this normality back.
Right.
But like I say, if I was a bit older, I probably would be a bit more concerned.
What about your older relatives then? I mean, if you go to visit them, are you still going to be unmasked, or are you going to clag a mask on for their benefit?
I've still been seeing all my older relatives. I mean, you know, they're quite happy to just carry on like normal. I mean, my nan, she was a bit worried for a little while, but then she kind of, after she had her vaccine, she felt so much more
secure
to be able to see me and hug me and just go back to how we were pre-COVID.
And you would, I'm fast forwarding to tomorrow night when you'll be in a nightclub. You walk into the nightclub, there's all the old crew that used to be there. You're going to walk up to the guys and give them a hug. You're going to come up to the women and give them a kiss. I mean, is it all touchy-feely again?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the main thing I'm looking forward to be honest.
Yeah, bit of human touch that we haven't had. And it's the thing that I find interesting is that the scientific crowd are terrified that people will touch and kiss and all the rest of it. And yet the numbers that they're giving us of how massive an increase, I mean, yes, you're quite right, deaths are massively down on last year, but they say that the graph is rocketing up there. It's rocketing up there while we're using masks and we're keeping our distance.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to say, well, we shouldn't do this other stuff because the stuff they're telling us to do patently isn't working because the thing's massively on the rise again.
And I think, like we say, unfortunately, it's just going to be something that we have to live with. You're never going to get rid of it, just like we've never got rid of the flu. We've never got rid of colds. You know, it's something that will just become a normal
Another
part
thing.
of life. And
Right.
people will have to accept that because we can't stay in lockdown forever. We can't hide away forever because if you look at the mental health rates for the past year and how people's mental health has deteriorated by being locked inside, you know, if you compare that to some of the days, the deaths from suicide to the deaths from COVID on some days,
Yeah.
you know,
Terrifying.
you have
The whole
to
thing's scary.
look at the mental side of things as well and outweigh the risk.
Right. On saying that, the rest of the world still don't trust Britain in any shape or form, and we're not trusting any other part of the world. If they were to open the borders, would you feel comfortable enough to travel anywhere?
I've actually got a holiday booked in September.
What were you off to?
Mallorca.
Right, well, fingers crossed. You must know that there is a chance, isn't there, that there could be problems, or are you just confident you'll get your money back?
Yeah, I mean, we've actually, my auntie is a travel agent, so
All
we've
right.
done it so that it's completely secured.
You've got a spy in the camp you can't lose, can you, John?
And I actually managed to get away last year as well during the pandemic. During September, I actually got away to Turkey.
Wow.
And they just seemed so happy to have tourists.
Anybody there, I bet. No, I bet they're built on it.
You know, they treat you like a king because their country was completely screwed over with no tourism.
Yeah. Like so many. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I've had a few emails from people who are kind of shy of not quite 30 yet, and they're all, can't wait. I mean, mask's already been put on the back of the fire. And then people kind of 40 plus all saying, it's too early, it's too early, it's too early. So there's a definite divide in opinion, and I can understand why. Because the crowd that are less likely to suffer just want to go and have a good time. And if people choose, at least now they have a choice rather than to be kind of forced into behaving in a certain manner. Hey, but good talking to you, John. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you very much for having me.
No problem. There you go, all the way from Salisbury. Anything but plain. There's John. So, we are heading to another glorious place. where the good big cows come from. It's Hereford. We've got Mark there. Hiya, Mark.
Hi, Alan. How's it going, mate?
It's good. Welcome home. At least
tell
verbally,
me
if
about
nothing
it.
else. How often do you manage to get a chance to come back up to Sunderland?
Oh, not a lot. Not as much as I would like to, shall we say.
So what's life like in Hereford? I haven't spent much time there at all.
It's good. It's good. But I just wish we could move everybody from the northeast up here, and it would be fabulous.
Yeah, there is I was down in Chelmsford last week, and I said hello to about 8 people.
And they ignored you, didn't they?
They're all thinking, what's he want? He
what's
must
what's he
must
doing?
want me money. He's after me money, Billy. He's after me money.
Yeah,
and I was
sounds
just,
about right, mate.
I was just saying hello, But anyway,
Yeah, I know. It's like that. It really is. But Alan, I've got to say, mate, I've listened to you from day one, and I mean
thank you,
day one. I listened to your predecessors, and you came on, and I thought, not so sure. But I'll be honest with you, mate, you made this show your own.
Well, thank you.
So enough respect to you for that.
Bless
You've
you.
actually made Night Owls yours.
Thank you.
So yeah, I've got to say it. I'm a first-time caller.
Hey!
Love you to bits.
Thank you.
All the rest of it. I'm 59 now, and I'm living in Hereford for my sins.
Yeah. What are you doing down there then?
Well, I actually moved down here for work. Well, I left the northeast. I mean, I'm from Sunderland originally.
Yeah.
And I left the northeast, and I went to Devon, a place called Tiverton.
Yes, no Tiverton.
Lovely place, and I worked down there for 2 years or so.
Right.
Didn't work out. Worked for a newspaper, and then I worked. I'm a photographer, by the way, a professional photographer.
Wow, great.
So I came back to the next job that was on the list, which happened to be Hereford. So I worked in an art college and taught photography, this, that, the other.
Great.
Cut a long story short, I worked in the NHS and started working within the retinopathy for basically people with diabetes. And we basically do a clinic.
Right.
Just try and save people with diabetes from losing their eyesight.
Wonderful.
So the photography is involved in there.
Yeah.
And I've been here ever since. But I really do miss the northeast. I mean, I'm not joking. We were up there about 2 months ago.
Right.
To see me not too well mother-in-law.
Right.
Who's not doing too well, so a bit sad, but it was just nice to get back, and I so miss the coast. It's unbelievable.
Was that the first place you went? Was it straight down to, where was it, Roker, or which bit?
Roker, yeah, it was Roker. Yeah, actually, Roker, that's where the mother lives. So we went to see her, and we straight down the beach and took her out to have a drink and something to eat. And
nice.
It was just so nice just to get back to the northeast, and when you're not there, you miss the coast so bad because Hereford is basically landlocked.
Absolutely,
so there's just no coast.
Right.
It's just fields and cows and sheep and all the rest of it.
But do you not think when you come back to a place, especially the north, it's almost like the piece of the jigsaw's fitting again, and then you've got to go, I've got to pull that out the jigsaw and go back to, and then settle it. It's a funny thing the northeast has, a hold it has on people.
It is. I love the northeast, but the problem is, Alan, you come back to the northeast and you have the problems that go with that. I mean, not this time, but the time before, what came back, drove up, and we went on the South Shields arcades, this, that, and the other, came out and find my car's been basically blagged. Somebody done the locks on it. I thought, oh, God, you don't get that down in Hereford. So you let your guard down. So when you come back north, you have to lift your guard up, if that makes sense.
And it's funny because when you live here, it's what you do. You take it for granted. It's not even something you have to think about.
Exactly.
I'm not parking it there. It's that kind of thing. Yeah.
But you forget that when you're away. And the funny thing is, Alan, when I came down to live in Hereford, and my car insurance decreased by about 30%.
Wow.
It was probably, I'm just in a lower risk area, and I mean, I'm touching wood here, but I mean, I've never had an issue with my car, never had issue, touching wood again, with break-ins and this, that, and the other. But I'll be honest, the people are not the same. It's bizarre. It really is bizarre. I love the Northeast. I'm from there. And the weather down here is ridiculous at the moment. I just can't do hot weather, Alan.
Well, we've got
30 degrees.
We've got slightly less than that up here, but it's still got an awful lot of kind of lobster red Geordies and Mackhams. That's the reality of it. But
I just don't go out in it.
It's just funny because, as I say, I was down south just the other day, and I said I'm going to keep asking. I'm going to keep saying hello to people till somebody says hello back. And it was the 9th person I spoke to said, hello, how you doing? And it was somebody from Scotland. It wasn't anybody from down there. It was just somebody from...
I was just about to say it wouldn't be.
No, it was worth a try.
It's just bizarre. I mean, it's like you go in a pub, I mean, obviously without COVID, but, previous to COVID.
Sure.
You go in a bar in Hereford and you talk to somebody, they look at you if you're like, what's his problem?
Yeah.
Normally if you're at a bar, you say, all right, how's it going? Oh, whatever.
To anybody.
But here, it's like they look at you as if there's something wrong with you. It's bizarre. It really is bizarre.
I mean, I'm sure you've done the same thing, though, that you're in a bar and somebody comes up and they go, Billy's had a problem. And you go, yeah. And all of a sudden, he's telling you about Billy. I had no idea who Billy was. But he's telling me about Billy's problem, and that's not taken back, not after this.
But you become concerned, don't you? You want to adopt Billy.
You're coming out and you've just had a half, and it's like, I wonder how Billy's... What's Billy going to do now?
Happen here. It just doesn't happen. It's so... The thing is, I mean, obviously being involved in the NHS and working with patients, I mean, the peak of times I was seeing 30 patients a day.
Yeah.
And, you'd be as nice as you can to them. And they all love the Northeastern people. As soon as they pick up on your accent, even though mine's diluted a lot, they still pick up on it. And they say, oh, you're from the Northeast? Yeah. Oh, well, I'm from Hartlepool or Middlesbrough or wherever.
Yeah.
And they'll open up to you and become a friend.
Sure.
And most of them said, how do you find it down here? Now, being politically correct, you've got to be careful how you answer that. And I said, well, how do you find it down here?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like the people.
Yeah.
That's all right, yeah.
I think it's funny because if let's say you're in the Northeast and you're a Sunderland, especially supporter, in a Newcastle pub, say, the banter's going to be fierce. We know that. And then if you are a Sunderland fan in Middlesbrough, there's going to be a bit of banter there too. And yet, if you're abroad anywhere, and you're from Berwick down to Leeds, pretty much. You're brothers, and it's like, don't you talk to him like that?
Exactly. I found that I used to work a lot in London, all over London.
Mm-hmm.
And, you'd be in a pub, and the last time I remember there was a Newcastle match on. I think it was Man U, Newcastle.
Right.
Man U beat Newcastle, unfortunately, but somebody came outside, having a cigarette, and he says, as soon as I opened my mouth, he says, oh, you're a Mackham. I said, yeah, I'm a Mackham. And he says, oh, but you're happy that Manchester United beat Newcastle? I said, well, no, I'm not, mate. I says, I'm down in London. We're northern. We should be supporting each other.
Yeah.
You really should.
Yeah.
When it comes south of the border, it's just, we're all northern. We're in a minority. You should just support each other, whether it be Middlesbrough, Sunderland, Newcastle.
I have a problem, though, because people who live in Manchester think they're northern.
Ah, they're not, mate. We need to get a banner out there. I'm sorry, guys, you're not.
Because technically, Scotland's northern, because we're south of Scotland, you see. That's the thing. But Manchester's well south of us, so I'm sorry, they're not proper.
Oh, yeah.
They're not proper northern.
I mean, we have a saying, anything south of Middlesbrough is Cockney. It's as simple as that.
That's a bit drastic, but I know what you mean.
Well, yeah.
Hey, well,
but the Scots, I mean, I love the Scots, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
I mean, you know, I came down here and where we're living, right in the border of South Wales.
Yes.
Literally on the border.
Uh-huh.
And there's a lot of this English Wales stuff, which I wasn't aware of, obviously, being from the north.
Sure.
And everybody says, oh, I bet you hate us. I'm thinking, why? Well, I'm Welsh. I'm thinking, well, so what?
Yeah,
and I said, nah, I ain't got a problem with you. I said, I ain't got a problem with anybody from the UK. We're all British, English, well, not English, sorry, but we're all British.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like I said, you know, they said, do you get a problem with the Scots and the Geordians? I said, well, no, we don't.
Why would
and I don't think we do we?
No, not at all. It's funny because Hereford, I just remember, I've only been to Hereford once, and I've just remembered when and why I was at Hereford. It was the only away football game I've ever been to that Newcastle United played.
Got beat.
And a guy called, I think Hereford were non-league at the time.
That's right.
And a guy called Ronnie Radford scored pretty much from another county, let alone on the pitch. But he scored a wonder goal and knocked Newcastle out of the cup.
That's right. Well, that's Hereford's claim to fame. As soon as they hear a northern accent, oh, we knocked you out. I said, well, no, you didn't, because I'm from Sunderland.
Right, absolutely.
But that is their claim to fame. But,
yes, for sure.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, you know, people think because you're from England or Scotland or Wales that they all should dislike each other. I'm just like, what? What's your problem? You know?
Yeah, never waste energy. Never use energy on hating people. It'll always bounce back against you.
Exactly.
Sure. Hey, well, lovely to talk to you, Mark. Thank you very much for coming on. You stay well.
Too, Alan. It's been nice to speak to you eventually.
My honour. Thanks, man. Take care. Bye-bye.
You too, mate. Take care.
Oh, well, what a nice fella there, Mark. Originally from Sunderland. And he sounds like he's pretty much there, isn't he? Solid. 01914 488 3188. Let us talk to Janet. Been all over the place. We're off to Janet, who's in Surrey at the moment. Hello, Janet.
Hello. I'm with my sister Paula as well.
Oh, hello, the pair of you. Hello. So good to talk to you both. What do you want to talk about then?
Just about COVID restriction and our opinion.
Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Well, disagree. I don't feel safe. And until those stats are at zero, I don't want to come out of this lockdown.
But it's never going to be zero, though, is it?
If we all like that right now, if we all stick to the lockdown, it would be though.
You think?
No one can just stay home, can they?
Well, no, but this is the problem. Even if we keep masks on, I mean, because let's face it, we haven't been totally free technically until today, and the numbers that are getting COVID are 63,500, I think it was, for the last couple of days, which is massive.
And I'm scared for my life.
Right. Have you been jabbed? Have you had your vaccine?
I was, double jab.
And you're
as
still...
As I got offered it, I was straight down there.
But you're still super nervous, even though you've had the vaccine.
I'm terrified.
Really?
I still have to get my daughters to go food shopping for me and my sister because we're just so scared.
So presumably then, this so-called Freedom Day is not going to make any difference to you two at all, then, is it?
Absolutely not, because although we can go out now and people should feel safer, everyone's going to be going out now and not wearing masks. So although the virus is in the air with masks and with restrictions, think about how much worse it's going to be with no restrictions.
Right. So
I think it should be mandatory for everyone to wear a mask.
Right. Now, some scientists say that wearing a mask doesn't make any difference, but it depends who who you talk to
Well,
and who you
I've
listen to,
been-
I suppose.
I've been wearing a mask, a visor, and gloves every time I leave my front door, even if it's just to take my dog for a walk.
Whoa, that is major. So at what point are you going to say, oh, I'm going out without a mask then? Because it will never get to zero, because we're being told it's going to be kind of like flu and like the cold. It's always going to be there now. So when are you...
I probably won't ever live without my mask again if it doesn't get to zero.
Really? Oh, my goodness.
I just can't risk it.
And this will stop you travelling anywhere, pretty much.
Oh, I said goodbye to abroad holidays a long time ago. Kissed them goodbye.
Right.
I'm scared of flying anyway, so it doesn't make too much difference.
Yeah, but you're not be able to get a canoe across to the continent.
True.
You'll not even be able to canoe across to the continent the way things are going.
Good swim, at least I wouldn't come in contact with anyone.
Oh, well, thank you for your views, the pair of you. Thank you for that. And
No
good
problem.
good luck. Stay safe and stay well. Thank you for ringing in.
And you.
Take care. Bye-bye. There you go. Well, you see, people are still petrified. Jackie is with us in Dumfries and Galway. Hello, Jackie.
Hello, Alan. How you doing, Pet?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much.
I'm dying for you to come over here and do the bloody ghost hunt.
Oh, well, we'll have to. It's only a matter of time.
Good.
Only a matter of time. So, what can we do for you, Jack?
Right, what I'm on about is this COVID carry-on.
Right.
You know, we've got the restrictions lifted tomorrow.
Yes.
Does this happen in Scotland? Because obviously I'm in Scotland. I'm desperate to go over to Newcastle, see the folks and family.
You're allowed to do it, but they're still they're calling it a zero, which means there's still a restriction. It still means you've got to wear a mask in outside areas in Scotland, not when you cross the border.
Right, so I can go mask-free.
You can, but only once you get across the border. Otherwise, it's masks in shops and public places.
Right.
That's the rule at the minute.
Do you know what it is, Alan? My parents, I mean, they're pushing on 80. They're absolutely terrified of this carry-on.
Yeah, well, it's been done to terrify people. The way it's been done, definitely.
It is. Absolutely. I'm saying, Mum, Dad, you've had... I mean, I've never seen my parents. It'll be 2 years come September because we'd do the present run, etc., and you know, before Christmas.
Sure.
And what have you. But then there was icy, horrible winters and what have you.
Yeah.
So we cut that off because my mum's a freak. She said, oh, don't come no driving, blah, blah, blah. Roads are not getting gritted and blah, blah, blah. And then we had the lockdown in the March.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen them for, well, like I say, 2 years come September. And we're just absolutely desperate to see each other.
I just think that I've always said from the very beginning, and I know that it was a major and nasty and horrible. It is a nasty, horrible thing. I get that. People have died. It's awful. An awful lot of people know someone who suffered.
Yeah.
It's all bad, so I'm not knocking any of it. But it's just right from the very beginning, on every news programme, it's all of these people have died today. Is it going to be you next?
I know.
What? I mean, that's no kind of way to deal.
When did you draw the line?
I mean, if you're an older person and they say people, you know, there's a certain strata of society that are more at risk than anybody else.
Yeah.
You're going to be papping your pants. I mean, there's no question about it.
Yeah. I've told me father, get off the bloody MSN news, man.
Yes, absolutely.
For goodness sake. They're brainwashing you, man. They're brainwashing you.
Yeah.
It's I think it's scaremongering.
I think we have to be careful.
You're gonna go.
That is absolutely
If you're
what I
gonna
feel.
go, you're gonna go.
Fate, if it's your time, you're going to get called. If it's not your time, you'll crack on.
That's it. I'm the same, round about the same age as you, Alan. And it's like, be real.
Yeah.
Just be real about things.
But don't waste your time worrying too much about things you don't have any control over.
Yeah. I suppose, shall we come over? Or, you know, we'll come over and see you. Yeah, but what about the neighbours will be curtain twitching and this, that and that.
Well, not now, so Get yourself over and give her a cuddle.
Oh, I'm dying to.
Absolutely.
Do you know what? I'm 57-year-old this year, and I'm dying to lie on my mother's lap and let her twiddle me hair.
Sweet. That's lovely.
You
Beautiful.
know what to do when I was a bairn, and you know.
Paints a lovely picture.
It does. It does. Can I
get
just
it
say
done.
hello to all the guys in the chat?
Right.
CMR, Tone Lass, and John, and Lego, and this, that, and that. We'll have a good little bit banter.
That's great. Hey, long may it continue. Thank you, Jackie.
Take care, Alan.
And you, love. Bye-bye. Let's have a superstar on. It's time. Well, kind of a superstar. I'm not really sure what he does, but he's a big name. You've heard about him. He was on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. David Guest, big pal of Michael Jackson. So when we got together, thought I'd ask him.
Michael Jackson was my best friend for more than 40 years. And together, I produced and he starred in the biggest musical television special in history called Michael Jackson Celebration, the Solo Years. It was his last concert ever and the last reunion he had with the Jackson 5. And our friendship spanned more than 4 decades. So there's nobody that knew me better or I knew better than him and his brother Tito, who was my other best friend.
And did Michael believe in ghosts? Had he ever had any kind of strange, spooky experiences?
He very much believed in ghosts. He sang a song about ghosts. And he very much believed in astrology and spirits. And I think you can tell that from Thriller and so much of his music. I've always believed in it. I have a cousin who is a astrologer, and she's quite a unique woman. And so I've always had ties to the afterworld.
Yeah?
Yes, I mean I've gone to many a seance where I've connected with people I haven't heard from in ages, and I really did hear their voices. In my head, I know people go, "Oh, you got to be kidding," but it's true. I really did. I had a cousin that lived till 114, and he was very close to me, and I actually felt like he was there speaking to me because everything that he said to me, I knew was true.
Ever tried to reach Michael?
No, I've never tried to get in touch with him in the afterlife.